Hello, everybody, and welcome back to That Pretentious Book Club.
Welcome back. Hello.
That over there is your host, Kendall Shaw, aka Dr. Spoons Palermo.
Hi, howdy. And over there is your other host, Ash O'Rourke, but you can call her Wheezy.
It ain't easy being wheezy. What if we just continue to be like that organized throughout the rest of the
I
episode?
know. Guys, if you don't want to hear our nonsense, go to the skip notes in the description and you can skip ahead to the book part. But if not, then just keep listening.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Wow, this is the best we've ever done.
I know. What if maybe we should just pre-record that part and just pop it in at the beginning of every episode?
Okay, why has it literally taken us this long to figure out that could be
to the last episode of season 4 to figure out that we could do that.
Oof.
I kind of like winging it. I think it, keeps us real. It keeps us human.
Keeps everyone on their toes. Oh, will they remember to do the important things this time or not?
Exactly.
Who knows?
That's why they really show up. They're like, is it ever going to get better? It's like when you watch a show and you're like, it has potential. I'm going to keep watching and just hope that it gets good. Like the production value increases. It doesn't.
It's like you're watching for the one hot actor, but you're just like hoping that the show overall improves.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is. Except that there's 2 hot actors.
Exactly. This time there's 2. Oh boy, aren't y'all lucky?
Y'all are welcome.
They're like, you do realize this is an audio medium, correct?
You'll just have to trust us. Our voice is not hot enough for you guys.
Oh God.
Actually, our Halloween episode I did make available for everybody. So it is on Patreon, but you don't have to subscribe to Patreon if you want to see our beautiful faces and our guest host, Lexi Potter, aka the Holiday Fox. You guys can see our Halloween episode on Frankenstein. Amazing. I made that for everyone as a gift. I feel like we could do the same with our Christmas one.
Yes, a holiday gift.
Exactly. But you guys, this is the last episode of season 4, which is crazy.
That is so crazy.
I think we're taking a hiatus week after this too, aren't we? But for the next season, don't we?
I was planning on it. So.
Okay, I think we are. I'm pretty sure I scheduled it for that. So I was just like, wait a minute, are we doing that? Yes, we are. So you guys are gonna have to live without us for a week. I don't know how you're gonna do it. But
guys, please do not resort to the Volturi in your loss of us.
Oh my goodness, yeah, guys, just hold on. I promise we'll come back. This is not like a
maybe double check, we will be returning.
We will be returning. If you guys are concerned, you can reach out. You can, can talk to us on social media. We will assure you there's no need for Volturi in the situation.
It's no need for Volturi interference. Thanks.
Oh my God. We're obviously doing New Moon this episode by Stephenie Meyer. This is the episode where I get to make all of my arguments in favor of Jacob.
I'm really excited to hear them,
Oh no, you're not.
No, I am, because you know why? Because I've already won, so it doesn't hurt me.
It's true. You've already won. Well, Spoons, my dear, how has your week been?
It's been all right. I think I say that every single
week. That's your form response. I'm just gonna start answering it for you. I'm just gonna be like, so Spoons, how was your week? It's been all right. And I'm just gonna do it for you.
Yeah. And you can say the same things every single week that I say, which are I've been going to school.
I've been doing a group project.
I've been doing a group project.
I could do Carissa's too on our sister podcast, the Scripturient Society. I'd be like, hey, Carissa's, how's your week? And she'd be like, oh, I didn't do much. I stayed inside and read and wrote. And I'd be like, great, Carissa. And Ash, how was your
Seriously, she is dedicated, and I love
She's
that
like,
for her.
I don't leave my house. Under any circumstance.
No way am I leaving my house. Well, my parents, their new house is basically finished now, so I went and was hanging out there yesterday, looking around.
Gorgeous.
And it is so cool. Yeah,
your mom awesome. Is so good at that stuff.
My mom is Miss Talent. Honestly, she's got all the talents. Yeah, she basically designed it all herself, and then they worked on it and they put in tile and stuff. Pretty crazy.
That's crazy.
It looks so good, so that's exciting. And yep, we turned in part of our group project last week, so this week we kind of had a little off week before we start our next part of the group project.
Oh God.
Next week. So it's pretty low key. I went to Barnes and Noble after work one day and just
Everyone's going to
wrote.
Barnes and Noble but me. Hobby went
Aw, we
also.
can go. I think there's a new Barnes and Noble that I want to go to.
Okay, I'll
So
go.
we should
We're
go.
gonna go.
I literally just sat at this Barnes and Noble and wrote for like 3 hours. It was kind of amazing. I
That
was
sounds
like really
amazing.
living it up.
See, but what
So
I would want to do, I'd want to take my free write with the big clickety clack keys and just disturb absolutely
click,
everybody
click,
in the
click, click.
vicinity, in the entire building. Click, clack, click, 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 click. Javi's like, stop it. He hates it. I'm like, you got
He
it for
bought
me. What
it
did
for
you
you.
think was gonna happen? So now maybe I need to be like, babe, I mean, if you really want it to be quieter, you could also get me the travel edition, and I can use that one when you're around. Because I also want the travel edition.
Christmas this year, baby.
Actually, I'm trying to get him to get me a puppy. So
Another puppy. How many animals do you want?
so many. I'll get into it with my whole week thing, but you continue.
Oh my God. Well, that's basically it. You can come over and use your free ride at my house if you want.
I would love to.
Give
And we
me
can
a little
clickety
turn
clickety
with
clickety
it.
clack. It'll be
Yeah,
good. We could
it
have a
will be
sleepover.
good.
We could go to Barnes and Noble.
Okay, you're speaking my language.
And I can finally bond with Jucifer. I just want to bond with my niece so bad. She's like,
yeah.
maybe it's because you keep calling me Jucifer. Maybe that's why we can't bond.
You guys do need some bonding time. That would be fun.
I know. All it is I'm just like, Juicy, I love you. And she's like, okay.
She's like, what if I scratch you real quick?
And I'm like, I still love you. And she's like, you are not getting the message.
She just really is somebody who likes her space,
Yeah.
I think she is loving, but she has such strict boundaries.
Exactly.
She's like, please do not cross
This is my
this line.
problem. So like while we are looking at dogs, I'm literally Googling cuddliest dogs, snuggliest dogs, most attached dogs, cleanest dogs, because that's
her
what
name
I
is
want.
Brownie, and you already have her.
I know, which here, do you want me to get into my week now?
Mm-hmm.
I guess this is like the last couple weeks. I guess I didn't talk about this like last week. I don't know. What did we do? Oh, we had the Foxy episode, so maybe it didn't come up. So Brownie killed some more chickens.
Oh, no.
It was another massacre. We only have 4 left. So we have raised from little chickhood to adulthood like 20 chickens this year. We're left with 4. Cannot keep doing this. Also, it's very traumatic. And this is after we spent hundreds of dollars and hundreds of hours working on this like high security chicken run. But the thing is, when you have a dog that's as smart and also as physically strong as Brownie is, like, and really more determined than smart, like just determined to get to the chickens, she broke her collar, broke out of it, somehow found a way into the chicken run, like must have like full force, like leapt at the door and like broke it open to get in.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she killed a bunch of chickens. And so as long as she's here, we're just biding our time between chicken attacks. And I can't do that because the investment of the chickens, like from a purely practical standpoint and not even an emotional one, is like, this is insane. Do you know how much time it takes to raise these freaking chickens?
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
A lot.
It's so much. And I'm like, we're not doing this anymore. And then also it's like really traumatic and upsetting. But so there was a whole panic of me in tears and sobbing, and we had to find a new home for her, but she's a lab pit mix and there's a lot of them, so it's really hard to rehome them, even though Brownie is the perfect family dog. She's good with babies, she's good with kids, she's good with people, she's good with other animals. Like, she's perfect. And she can she's crate trained, she's house trained, she can be at home by herself for up to 12 hours, not have an accident, and she's perfectly fine. Like, I don't know how she does it. Her bladder is crazy. She was like that before we got her. So I don't know how she does it, but she's like the perfect dog if you don't live on a farm.
Yeah.
So we were panicking, trying to find a place. I was contacting rescues. The only place I had found was a shelter that was like a really low kill shelter, but not a no kill shelter. So, because they were an open intake and you can't be no kill and open intake. And I was like, her chances aren't as good because of her breed, because there's so many. So even though her personality should put her in like easy adoption range, because of her breed, she wouldn't be. So anyways, Maddie and Dom, my sister and brother-in-law, are moving down here soon.
Oh my God.
And they had mentioned the last time there was a chicken attack, Maddie was like, oh, if we were going to be down there, then maybe we would take her, because I love Brownie, and Grayson is obsessed with Brownie, and she'll literally go, bow, bow, Brownie, bow, bow, because that's what she calls her. And Maddie will call just so Grayson can see bow, bow, because she loves her. And Grayson's impression of dogs is funny. When you go, what sound does a dog make? She doesn't say like bark, bark. She goes, and sticks out her tongue.
She does the panting. Oh, that's so cute.
Which she started doing completely on her own, and they're like, we don't even have a dog. We don't know why she does that. But anyways, they'd been contacting us because they are moving down here in like a couple weeks now. And so I was like, you guys wouldn't want the dog, would you? Thinking they're gonna say absolutely not. And they were like, we will trade you our cat for your dog, because they've been trying to rehome their cat. And I was like, are you serious? Are you dead freaking serious right now? And they were like, yeah. And because they know how much Grayson loves Brownie, and like Brownie is the perfect family dog, and they're gonna live in the city
and that
or
way
the suburbs.
Still see her.
I know. And so I, like, after 2 days of sobbing and crying and trying to contact every rescue and shelter I could find, was because we've been trying to rehome her for months. I never told Hobby, but since the last chicken attack months ago, I never took her off the adoption sites. I've been like on the sly, still trying to find like a home that's more suited to her, because I love her, but she's not suited to where we live, unfortunately. And so I've been trying to find a better match for her than us. And I just couldn't find anyone. And so I was like, oh my God, really? And so now they're so excited. Even Dom, and he's not a huge animal guy, but even he, I think, is excited. So we're going to take their cat, Sybil. So, because Dom and Sybil have never really jived.
This is so exciting. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy.
Exactly. But I maybe made the mistake, but also it was good of I don't cry a lot in general. I definitely don't cry in front of people. And I couldn't stop crying on the phone to Javi. And I was just like, I'm so sad. I just have such a horrible luck picking dogs. I'm never going to have a dog again. I just can't pick dogs, because my last dog was also a chicken killer and also bit someone. Although I think it was the person's fault, and he was not an aggressive dog, and it was just a really bad situation. And that was many years ago. It was just all around bad. And so I've just been crushed to pieces twice now by dogs that I've picked. So I'm like, I'm never picking a dog again. But the thing about Brownie is, like, because she's inside with me almost all the time, like, she really helps with my anxiety, because she'll lay on my chest. Like she's not just like a snuggler. She's like a chest snuggler. And something about like that, like living, breathing weight on my chest is like better than a weighted blanket. And she's always there to snuggle. And like, she's just the sweetest, clingiest girl. And because Javi's gone a lot, it's so nice. I feel like 50 to 75% better with Brownie than without Brownie.
She is such a sweet snuggler.
She is the best snuggler in the whole world. And so anyways, so I was just like so sad about also losing that, but I don't trust myself to pick another dog. And no, I would not have been like right away, and we're going to get another dog to replace her, right? Because I'm like, that's cold. But Javi was like, I'm going to get you another dog. And I was like, no, it's okay. I really don't need one. And at first I was like, no, absolutely not. But he has just made it his mission that he is going to find me the perfect companion dog. And I'm going to get this dog as a little puppy and raise it. And it's going to get to bond with me primarily and be my dog. So we're looking for the perfect dog that does not have a high prey drive and will snuggle with me.
That's so exciting.
I know. Wait. So like last week I was still like, Javi, I don't want another dog. And now I'm like, well, now that I know Brownie's going to be so happy, she'll be perfectly fine and I'll still get to see her. And Javi is determined to find me the right puppy. So
this is good news all around. I'm really, sad about the chickens, but it's all going to work out, so that's what's important.
Exactly. And so, if Javi asks you what I want for Christmas, say a Dane puppy. I cannot get him. He has put his foot down about a Great Dane, and I just can't fathom why.
I don't know. That's a mystery.
Cannot fathom it. I was like, you basically got a fluffy Great Dane. He lives outside.
He is so big.
He's huge. And he also leans and does everything that our last Great Dane did. I'm like, he just lives outside. And he's like, exactly. He lives outside. So we are currently looking at bulldogs, because I love bulldogs. French bulldogs, because they're little and they have a high prey drive, but like a chicken could kick its ass. I'm not concerned, could never get into the thing. Could never get into the chicken run. And a basset hound, which I want so bad. They do have a high prey drive, but I'm like, you're so short. I kind of don't think you could get into the chicken run. The thing with Brownie, and they're lazy too. Brownie's not lazy. Brownie is like, I'm gonna find a way in, and I'm big enough to shove my way in. I don't know if Basset Hound can, so I don't know.
But maybe better not to take the chance.
I know, that's what I'm torn between. But I freaking love Basset Hound. But I think Javi's leaning towards a French bulldog, which are pretty dang cute.
They are
way smaller than I ever wanted a dog.
Weird looking. I love them.
I know. This is why It's Javi and I both like the really ugly dogs. We like really just do like the ugliest dogs. And my mom was like, you guys should think about a King Charles Spaniel because they do, the personality is
They're
amazing.
so cute.
And they're adorable. Javi said, that is the ugliest dog I've ever seen.
He's lying. They're the cutest dogs in the world.
No, Javi and I like ugly dogs. Classically pretty dogs, Javi's like, that dog is disgusting.
God, you guys are just so different.
I mean, I think they're all cute. I'm like kind of a sucker for like any dog or any cat. Like I like
mean,
them all.
who among us? You know, I don't trust people who are like, ew, gross, a pet. I'm
Ew,
like,
gross,
okay,
a baby animal. You're like
calm
so
down.
Do you murder people and leave their
yeah,
bodies?
so
in
like,
your
what's
basement?
your
Like,
problem? Are you evil?
Biggest red
Or...
flag. Yeah. Anyways, so I guess that's mostly been my week. And I cut bangs again.
I was about to say your hair looks really cute.
Thank you. It's I cut them again because I think I like them in the fall and winter, and so it'll grow out by spring and summer. And also, like, do you see they're so long. My bangs are so long. They just curl up really tight. So if I wanted to like brush them out a little more, I could still flip them to the side. So I'm trying to convince my mom to let me cut bangs on her because she's been thinking about it for years. I thought about this for approximately 3 hours and I was like, yeah, I want them.
Oh my God. See, I had thought about my bangs for about 25 minutes before I cut them. And I just did it.
Oh my God. See, I feel like that's fine. They grow out fast. Bangs grow fast.
I just don't care about hair. Like I look my short hair. Also, that was a split-second decision. And I was like, you know what? If I don't like it, it grows out. Who cares?
Does grow out. I know. So I'm trying to get my mom to let me layer her hair and give her bangs because she's been thinking about it forever. And she always goes, maybe. But every time I do my hair, because I layered it also, she's like, your hair looks amazing. And I'm like, I did it myself. I have been for years. Curly hair is very forgiving. I promise you I could even do a better job on you because I won't be like trying to like see pieces in the mirror like when I do mine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyways, that's been my week. So it's just really been a roller coaster.
It's been pretty wild.
Oh, and one more. I'm starting counseling again for anxiety. Yay! So last time I went for depression. Now we're moving on to anxiety.
You've graduated.
I've graduated. Well, like my coping mechanisms that I worked with my counselor still work great. So hooray for that. But my anxiety is like, it's like I just suppress it all. Like if someone's like, are you stressed? I'm like, no. And I genuinely believe that I'm not stressed. But my body's like
deluding yourself so hard that you
I've deluded myself so hard I can't even tell that I've deluded myself, but my body's like, here, have a bunch of stress stomach ulcers, here, have a heart rate that never slows down anymore. And I'm like, oh my God. I feel sick all the time, but I'm not stressed.
That's not good. No, but it's nothing. It's
nothing. So I was like, maybe I need to just talk to a counselor again. So counseling's good, guys.
I'm glad.
I highly recommend.
I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, so it's been a week, you know. Anyways, man. But I really, really enjoyed this book for this week.
I know.
I forgot how much I liked it. Yeah, let's get into it. We already did a Stephenie Meyer bio, so we don't need to do it again.
Yeah, just go listen to our Twilight episode, y'all, and you'll hear all about our girl Stephenie.
Yeah,
Stephenie exactly. With an E. I always thought that was weird. STEPHENIE.
Oh, is it? I probably always spelled it wrong.
It's Stephenie.
Oh, I've totally spelled it wrong forever. Sorry, Stephenie. Sorry.
I just always thought I've like never seen anyone spell it like that before, so I always thought it was interesting.
That is interesting. Okay, so this book. First off, if you guys are new here, I am Team Jacob, unabashedly Team Jacob. No one could unconvince me from being Team Jacob. Spoons is wrong. She's Team Incorrect, which is to say she's Team Edward.
I'm Team 1 in the end, so we'll see.
You're like, team already won this, then you have no argument. My husband is also Team Edward, and I inevitably, this is going to be probably one of those episodes where I'm like, oh my God, I just have such a crush on my husband, which I do occasionally because I do, but also because before I met Javi, had a crush on Jacob, right? Like, I was never like a super fan of the Twilight series, but Jacob really is my type completely. And then I met Javi, who is Jacob. He really is in almost every way. But Javi, my husband, thinks he's Edward, and he has like a major crush on Edward. Javi's got all these man crushes.
He really does
loves
love Edward. Well, see, I think it's fair to talk about him because he is also a huge Twilight fan. So
he is. If he would have been here, y'all could have ganged up on me because he might have actually joined because he doesn't get it. But I'm just going to right off the bat so we can just know right off the bat, these are the parallels I'm going to be
This is where
making.
we stand.
This is where we stand. Jacob is a hothead. Check. My husband's a major hothead. Jacob just runs around with a pack of grown men, baby boys. So does my husband. Just a bunch of puppies. Just a bunch of crazy ass puppies.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Let's see. Is ripped, really prides themselves on working out. Javi has been ripped in the past and very much prides himself on working out.
Oh my God.
Very active people, you know. Let's see, extremely protective, definitely leaps before thinking. Javi also, although Javi would disagree. Javi doesn't think that he does that. He does. I know him better than he knows himself. Yeah, I mean, I feel like right there is a lot. I'm sure I'll come up with more along the way. He is. Where Edward is like cool and calm and collected. And he thinks first, even though he's often incorrect, you know? And he's also like a little bit controlling and he's like very measured.
Stop ragging on my boy.
I'm not even ragging on him. I'm just saying these are aspects of his character.
Yeah, well, you named all good things about Jacob. And then you're like, by the way, Edward's a bitch. And then you're like, these are all facts, Kendall. What are you talking about?
They are. He's calm and he's measured and controlled. And a lot of people like that. But it is the opposite of Jacob and my husband.
They are definitely different. It is so funny to me. Like, I would never take this away from you. And clearly you know him better than I know him. But like, I'm reading this book and I'm not thinking this is so happy. So I just think it's so cute that you're like, he's exactly the same. I'm like, okay.
I mean, maybe I'm projecting a little bit.
I think you are, but I think it's okay. You're allowed to.
I am. And it's probably because I was already Team Jacob. Then I started dating Javi and we were together for a long time before Javi was like, oh yeah, I'm Team Edward. And I was like, you're what? And it just took me so by surprise.
This might be a deal breaker, babe.
Yeah. It's just kind of entrenched me in the fact, like at first I was like, no, you're way more Jacob. And now I've just gotten deeper and deeper entrenched in this opinion. So now I'm like, well, they're basically the same person, which is not where I started. Yeah.
I love this for you. I love it.
They're both overprotective. Okay. But like Javi says like the most like dumb hothead shit, which is also the same type of shit that Jacob says.
Jacob is a hothead. I'll say that. Is
Javi also not a hothead?
No, he is. Yeah. I'm not saying there are no similarities. I'm just saying that I'm having a fun time watching you be like, they're so
the same. Oh, and also this is a dumb one. You know how like Jacob's a werewolf, so he's like 1,000,000 degrees. So is Javi. Javi just runs at a hotter temperature. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why are you always so hot? So I don't know. His body temperature. I mean, physically, I think he's pretty hot too.
I love it.
Anyways, I'm like, what tiny minute things?
Do you remember that line?
I'm just hotter than you.
Yeah, I'm just hotter than you.
Is that not something Javi would say?
That was so iconic, and
it is iconic. Yeah.
Anyways, I mean, listen. I just want to say right off the bat, I like Jacob. I love him. I think he's fun and I like him. And I've always liked him.
But you think Edward's better
for Bella.
Yeah, I get. And yes. When we read Twilight, I had the same thought, but I have a quote that's going to completely flip the script on that. Because I think I changed my own mind. Because even last time I was like, okay, Jacob is for me and Edward is for Bella. I can acknowledge that. So I'm personally Team Jacob, like, but for Bella, I was Team Edward. Now I'm like, actually, no, I'm just like someone who is becoming more and more like polarized in my thinking.
Actually, I've decided to die on this hill. Thanks.
I really have. Listen, I've been like, maybe I am right. Maybe I'm right about everything.
You're like, actually, I'll never doubt myself again. I will admit this is by far Edward's worst book. And Jacob is very sweet and cute in it, so I understand to some extent.
He's doing his best, okay? And his best is like awesome. Edward's best is like so shitty in this book. His best almost gets them both killed. His best.
My Eddie boy is so stupid in this book. It's like embarrassing a little bit.
Oh, and I just also have to say real quick, I'm sure a lot of you Team Edwards are going, oh my God, but Jacob and Prince on Bella's baby in the last book. Shut up. I am not talking about that, Jacob. Shut the F up, everybody. You cannot make that argument. That is a completely different argument.
We're not talking about Bridget.
We're not talking about that. I'm talking about pre that, God. Jacob.
That is the funniest way you could have said that. Instead of being like, you know what, like, we'll discuss it later. You're like, shut up. Do not bring it up.
I don't want to talk about it, you guys.
So funny.
I'm not going to listen. Jacob did not choose that. Stephenie Meyer chose that. It was weird.
You're like, hashtag not my Jacob.
Seriously, hashtag not my Jacob.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Anyways, I just right off the bat, I have to, you guys can message me all you want. And if it's anything but that, I'll happy to entertain your arguments. If it's that, I'm not even entertaining your arguments.
Listen, you guys, I won't entertain any Twilight bashing. Do not message us with Twilight bashing. We are here to enjoy, okay?
We are here to enjoy. Absolutely, we are.
So many times while I was reading this book, I was just like, you know what? I do not care. Okay. I do not care. I acknowledge this is weird and maybe this is an unhealthy relationship. I don't give an F. Okay. No. Let me enjoy my Twilight.
Exactly. And I will say this for like the quality of the love triangle, because we over on our sister podcast, the Scripturient Society for Writers, Chris and I talk a lot. She hates love triangles, hates them. But we do talk about.
Sorry, I cussed.
It's okay. It's okay. I think we could just cuss this episode. It's a really emotionally charged one, you know? So there's a lot to say. Like, I'm like, F you guys if you say that Jacob's not the best. If you guys bring up the last book, F you. I'm not even going to talk to you.
You're out of the club.
We do not discuss the last book as far as Jacob is concerned.
Listen, I have my own thoughts. We can discuss it later. Are we going to do all of them? Maybe we should, because I like Eclipse.
I kind of feel like we should too. Yeah,
at this point, we're halfway through.
I think we might have to just start ending our seasons with it or something, like we do with Pride and Prejudice at the beginning. We should have to end with another masterpiece.
We're just bookending, with masterpieces written by strong, beautiful women.
That's exactly correct. Exactly. Anyways, Chris and I talk about love triangles and multiple love interests. I prefer the multiple love interests to love triangles where there's like more than just two. And because often like they're so different from each other, you're like, ooh, so many different options, so interesting. But the thing with the love triangle that even Carissa has said that bothers her is often it's like these are two men who are exactly the same. They're like sexy in all the same ways. And I will give this to Stephenie Meyer, which is why I think so few people take an issue with this as a love triangle, is they're very, very different. I am very proud of this. Yeah.
And very different. I mean, if you're not completely blinded, you can see the pros and cons in both, I think.
Yes, you can. Like in book 1, I was like, okay, Edward's fine for Bella. In this book, I'm like, Edward, you need to just take some you time. And he's like, I did. And then I went to the Volturi.
The thing that we have to say about Edward is he is such he's so annoying, like in his soul. And I love that for him.
He is. Maybe this is why Javi relates to Edward. He's so melodramatic.
That's what it is.
And so is my husband.
Yeah, I know.
That's got to be what it is. They are the most unashamedly and unaware of how melodramatic they are about everything. And Javi does not think he's dramatic either. And he probably doesn't think Edward's dramatic. They're both the biggest drama queens I've ever seen in my entire life.
Edward is entirely like, he's so emo. He's an edgelord. He's so dramatic. Everything is like life or death for him. He's he hates himself so much. I think that's what I love about him, how much he hates himself.
Like, I could make you love yourself, Edward. One of those.
It's a little bit that, and it's a little bit that I just think it's so funny because every decision he makes is like, yeah, except for that I'm the worst guy ever. But
see, I love Jacob because Jacob's like, I'm obviously the better choice, Bella. And I'm like, you are, you're correct. And I appreciate your confidence for admitting that.
So funny.
Oh God. Okay, we're gonna try and get into the plot here, but you guys just need to know all of our Twilight episodes, I think, are more about our assessment of the characters than about the plot. Let's be real. That's what we're doing when we're reading it anyways.
I mean, you can break this plot down into like 5 points, really.
Yeah.
You don't even have to get that deep into it.
They're like, instead of chapters, just if you guys have seen the movie, they do like a montage of like Bella staring out the window as the seasons pass. That's exactly the book. It's like September, October, November, and nothing is happening except for her being depressed and wasting away, which is very extreme.
It is so iconic. You cannot tell me that's not iconic. When I first read this book, I was like 11 or 12, and I had I was in 6th grade. I read
so young.
I read the first one,
and I was in college, or maybe late high school.
See, I was this was like, I read them like the same year that the movies came out, or that the first movie came out, but it was like early that year that I read them, and then they came out, so I didn't have to wait as long as a lot of people. But I remember I started reading them like right after Breaking Dawn came out, so I didn't have to wait for any of them to come out. However, after I finished Twilight, I was like, I need the next book. I finished it like that night, and then the next morning I went downstairs. It was like a Saturday, and I was like, we have to go to the bookstore now. We have to go now. We have to go to the bookstore right now, immediately, before we do anything else today. Thank you. And my parents were like, what? And I was like, we have to get the next Twilight book. I was like foaming at the mouth. And my dad drove me around to every bookstore. At first he was like, okay, we'll go check, but then I think we both kind of got like frustrated that we couldn't find it, because they were sold out of every store, because everyone was reading them. And so anyway, I finally found it at like Walmart or something, and that's this copy. And then I read it, and so I'm sitting down, after the first one, thinking like, oh heck yeah, a whole book of Edward and Bella being in love. And then I get to like page 50, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I lost my mind. And I'm just reading the like October, November, December. I thought I was having a conniption. I seriously was like freaking out. I mean, I'll never forget that.
I think I read part of Eclipse, and then I got distracted and never picked it up again. So I never finished reading the series. I've watched all the movies. The last ones are so cringy to me. The last two. Up until I enjoy the first 3 immensely. The first 3 movies are like my everything. Yep. I could watch them every damn day.
The first one is like one of my favorite movies. I love the first movie so much. The
first movie is iconic. They really set the tone for the rest of the series. They're like, this is what this is gonna be, and this is what you need to expect.
I think they should have followed the tone more closely for the others.
I know. It's like someone was like, maybe a little bit too much melodrama, and they were like, note taken. And it's like, why did you take that note?
Don't do that.
We were here
this
for
is
it.
What the book is. Okay.
So the teenage girls flocked to the movie theater. I still remember all the news reports about the movie theaters and how insane it was when Twilight came out.
Oh my god, it truly is kind of hard to like people who weren't there. Like, do you know what it was like
in junior high or high school when Twilight became what it is? You've never seen. I don't think
the mania.
You had another movement like this. Like think of the ACOTAR movement, but like a million times.
Yeah, because they haven't made an ACOTAR movie or anything. Oh my god, imagine when they do.
Oh.
Also, I think like the romances in ACOTAR is so clearly cut. In this one, it's like everyone was at each other's throats,
Yeah, exactly. No, this was, you guys, I just can't think of it. We haven't had anything like Twilight since Twilight. Like there's nothing.
There will never be another Twilight.
It changed the face of YA paranormal romance forever. I mean, YA paranormal romance it was like a tiny little like subsection of like YA fantasy stuff. And now it's like huge. And Stephenie Meyer is the reason.
After Twilight, everything was
vampires and werewolves.
Yes. Supernatural romance. Everything. Yeah.
If you would go on like literary agents' websites, it would be like, do not send me vampire manuscripts. Do not send me werewolf because everyone's just basically writing their fan fictions and sending them in for publication. Like that's basically for years what was happening.
Though? That is kind of like us now with the Fae. There is so much Fae literature.
It's true. Yep. It's very true. Rolls her eyes. Anyways, so that's what we're going into this with. If you guys were not a part of that movement, I guess Gen Z probably doesn't know what it was like. I'm sorry you guys missed out, but we're going to try and give you a little bit of the experience. If they're like, these girls are insane. I know we have some Gen Z listeners. I cannot communicate to you. We are like the mildest of the bunch. There were way crazier than us about this.
No,
like people drawn to violence over this book.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like that, but I was.
You are much closer to the ideal Twilight girl.
The thing is, I don't feel ashamed of it. I would do it again. You know, this is who I am.
I was behind the listen. So my level of insanity about this is like a drop in the pool, because first of all, I'm anti everything everyone else is into, and I was then too. I read it later than everyone else, so I just watched from the outside, so I still kind of feel like a bit of an outsider. And my insanity about this and my intensity of feeling about this series is more, it's like in like the top ranking of all books that I have big feelings about. And I am like a drop in the bucket, a drop in the ocean of Twilight insanity.
Yeah, it was.
You're like a few bucketfuls of crazy about it, but
thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we're both pretty reasonable people, you know. Listen, I'm sorry, but Stephenie's writing this kind of angsty nonsense. What am I supposed to do? Not freak out?
It was irresponsible of her, to be honest.
It really was.
Irresponsible. Okay, so
here we go.
New Moon. Okay, so this is book 2 in the Twilight series. Last book, I'm sure you guys all know what happens. Edward, Jacob, craziness. Edward has to protect Bella. Psycho vampire tries to kill her. He kills them. Then her angry mate runs off. Okay, now it's happy dreamland. New Moon. Edward and Bella so happy together, having the best time. Bella's like, Edward, I just want you to turn me into a vamp. And he's like, absolutely not.
That's basically word for word. Yeah,
it's basically a direct quote. So Bella is not having a good time in that sense, because she's like, I'm gonna keep aging. It opens up with a nightmare she has where she looks just like her grandmother, and Edward still looks hot and 17. And I'm like, this is a valid concern. I'll give her that. I would also be concerned about this. She's like, I'm gonna keep getting older, and it's about to be her birthday, so she's extra anxious. So I think she's about to be 18, so she's about to be a year older than when he was turned, because he's eternally 17. Even though he's like, what, 100 and something?
Yeah, I think 100.
I don't know on this. See, if we were super fans, we would know. We would just
he was turned in 1917, right? So I think he.
I don't know. See, she is more of a super fan than me.
No, he's like almost 110, I think.
Yeah, it's something like that. But she's like, but he was turned at 17, so now I'm a whole year older than him, and this is the worst, because they're both dramatic as hell. I mean, oh my God. Anyways, so she did not want to celebrate her birthday. She's being a real Debbie Downer about it. She's like, I don't want anyone to wish me a happy birthday. And of course, her family and friends are like, happy birthday, Bella. And she's like, seriously, shut up.
What's that?
But on the inside.
That Vine. Happy birthday, Raven. I can't swim. Okay, sorry.
What that Vine is, but
I
feel strongly that's what it is.
Anyways. Raven.
Oh my God, I can't swim.
Sorry.
I don't even have to like see Vine. Sometimes you just like quote them to me and I'm like, I can see how this is funny.
Thank you.
Anyways, wait, new platform idea. It's just you like reenacting or revoicing old Vines.
It's just me being like, guys, you remember that one Vine where
I would subscribe to it so fast.
That's so kind of you. You'd be my only subscriber.
I don't think so. I think we all enjoy it when you reenact Vines. It's one of my favorite things you do.
It's called Do It for the Vine. Oh my God.
Do it for the Vine. Oh my God, I love it. Anyways. Okay, so she's being kind of a butthead about her birthday. The Colons are all so excited to throw a birthday party because they haven't had like a birthday party in so long. It's precious. Alice is so excited. Ugh. So
I love Alice. Okay, that's one thing I love about this book. Much more Alice heavy.
I know.
And she is totally like my favorite character.
Well, Alice is amazing. Also, shout out to the listener who sent us the thing that was basically about like the best like characters in Twilight, like the hottest ones. And Charlie was like, like scream worthy, and I was like, you are absolutely
Charlie
correct.
Is so hot. Like I love Charlie.
So it's like none of this is incorrect. Absolutely. So good. Anyways, so she goes over to the Colons for her birthday. While she's there and opening a present, she gets a paper cut, and I was like, oh no, that's what I would do. I'm like, yeah. Anyways, get a paper cut in a house full of vampires, and Jasper has been a non-human eating vampire for the least amount of time. So his self-control is still the worst. And so he kind of flips out and he's like an attacker, and then they all protect her, but then they all have to like run out of the room except for Carlisle, who, oh my God, Carlisle's amazing.
Carlisle is so hot too.
He's so hot. It's insane.
But it's still ruining my life that he's 23. Like, I cannot stop thinking about it. This whole book, I was like,
very Bella of you to say that it's ruining your life, because he is so old.
But he's 23. I'm older than Carlisle Cullen.
You're not, though. You just look
body wise.
Yes, but physically.
That is sick and twisted. I hate that.
He's there. He and Esme are like the 23-year-old parents of all these like 17-year-old teenagers.
Do it. Yeah, that is kind of weird.
that's where my problem with this comes in. But anyways, hot Dr. Carlisle, who's totally fine around blood. Thank goodness. He's like helps, fix her up, and it's a whole thing. And then she goes home, and then Edward starts acting really weird after that, like really withdrawn and dramatic as hell. Yeah, defend him now, Kendall.
I can't. Like, this is not. I see where he's coming from, but he went about it in a horrible way.
Yeah. And so
like, I understand why he feels like this. He's probably like, okay, I'm a jerk. I'm the one who's always making Bella in danger and all of that. But I'm also like, okay, but like that ship has sailed, right? Like, he almost died last book. Let's just move on, Yeah,
just move on and do your best. Yeah, he's like, I refuse to move on. I refuse to grow as a person.
I will hate myself no matter what.
Yeah, and so finally he's like, hey, Bella, I need to talk to you. And she's like, okay. And he's like, here's the deal. I don't love you. I've never loved you. I'm leaving. You're staying here. How could you ever think I love you? You made it so easy. And I'm gonna go now. You'll never see me or my family again. It'll be like I never existed. And she's like, okay.
It is so ice cold, dude.
It's awful. Even in the movie, at least they let Bella be like, I know you're just saying this. In the book, she's like, okay.
He's seriously like, okay. Damn. Because Bella also, they both need to work on their self-esteem, honestly. For people who everyone lusts after, they're both very like low self-esteem.
This is what I'm saying. I feel like Jacob in this book really helps raise Bella's self-esteem.
He does. I'm not denying that.
And he has an over healthy self-esteem, and I would prefer that, to be honest. Obviously.
You would prefer that to a mopey, cold vampire boy who hates himself? That's bonkers.
I know, it's crazy. Anyways, my stomach just growled.
The thing that I hate so much. Oh, sorry, what happened?
Oh, it's my stomach growled, which I don't know if the mic picked up, but in our Halloween episode, it did pick up my stomach growl. I was like, what?
Oh my God, that's funny.
Yeah, so you guys ever hear like a weird, it's Ash's stomach is always growling, part of having an ulcer. Okay,
she's hungry and she has an ulcer.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
No, it's Jacob's growl.
You're
like, ew.
The thing that made me the most angry about this whole thing, I mean, already I was angry, but I had forgotten that he took her pictures of him and the CD that he gave her of him playing the piano and just took it when he left.
Just took it.
What the F? Literally like, what the F?
He said it'll be like I never existed, and then he was like, yeah, and I'm gonna get rid of everything that you have that's connected to me.
How did he think that was a good idea? How? It is so mean. I could not believe it.
It was so cruel. Unnecessarily
he's
cruel.
So stupid. He was like, this will be better for her. And I was like, how about you shut the F up?
How about you let her make her own decisions, Edward?
Made me piss off.
Yeah, rightfully so. If that didn't piss you guys off, then you're wrong. I'm just
pissed right off.
Yeah.
And then he freaking leaves and the whole family's gone. And Bella didn't get to say bye to anybody.
No.
Even Alice. And
that's awful.
And he
I'm
left.
Like really mad that the whole family went along with it too. I'm like, since when is Edward in charge?
Okay, seriously, since when is Edward in charge? Couldn't they have all like? I feel like Carlisle would have been like, Edward, like this is stupid. But nobody said anything. Esme didn't say anything. Like, what the hell? Anyway, but then also, as if that wasn't bad enough, he like broke up with her in the woods, and then Shirley saw that she was just wandering around the woods. And he left.
He left. And she just wanders deep into the woods, curls up in the fetal position, just like in the movies. And she just stays there. For like 24 hours.
Immortal, hot boyfriend who is a vampire breaks up with you and says he never really loved you and it's fine, like you were just a phase, and he's leaving. Yeah, I would curl up in the fetal position too.
I don't fault her at all for this reaction.
Who among us?
No, who among us? This is completely valid to having your heart shattered into pieces. I'm like, I would absolutely do the same. You can go look for me in the wilderness in the fetal position, and I'll never regret it. I will never say it was overreacting.
No, that's fair enough, girl. Like, I get it. But then she's like tries to like Charlie after they find her. Sam Yulee finds
Sam
her.
Yulee from the reservation out on the push. He finds her.
And then Charlie is like, oh my God, like, because he got a letter from, sorry, I'm only stepping on your toes just to say this one point.
Please go for it.
He got a letter, I guess, that Bella left, in quotes, really Edward left it, that was like, I'm on the path out in the woods, like, don't worry about me and Edward are hanging out. And I guess like that's something, because at least he was like, then they'll know where to look for her. But I'm also like, and then she's like, but it's not Edward's fault. I left the path. And I'm like, okay, he's literally a vampire. Surely he knew. Like, it makes me pissed off. I'm pissed off.
I know. Well, and his whole time, he's like, I just want what's best for Bella. And I'm like, if you wanted what was best for Bella, Jacob is better for her. And he even admits it. He's like, I'm just not strong enough. And I'm like, but you were strong enough to leave her in the fetal position in the woods.
You're not being entirely fair to Edward, because at the end of the book, he literally says, he's like, listen, I know I messed up. If you have moved on and stuff, like, I'll accept it. It's all good. He says that. He does.
I know he says that. But
what you think? Come on, Edward. If Bella said, I don't want to date you anymore, Edward would be effing gone, and he would go live underwater in Brazil.
He'd go back to the Volturi. What are you talking about?
He would immediately die. That's what I'm saying. He'd be like, okay, I'll never bother you again. Thanks.
Yeah, he would have. But like, Bella was doing so much better finally without him. Anyways, it's just, it's okay. I get it. Edward and Bella are meant for each other. I get it. Bella is Team Edward. I understand that Bella is Team Edward. I just don't think she should be.
I think that's one of the big push and pulls of the whole series. You've hit it on the head, because truly, was it in the cosmic plan for her to meet Edward, or would she have been? I think she would have been also very happy if she had never met Edward, being with Jacob, and just, I think she could have learned to love him, and I think they would have been fine.
So much less emo, so much less moody and sad.
That's not what happened. So now that Edward's in the equation, we just can't take him out. You know what I mean? This is the exact same thing as the Hunger Games love triangle. It's like, if she had never met Peeta and had to go to the games, she and Gale could have been very happy together, and I'm the first to admit it. But she did, so we can't go back now.
We just have to deal with what we have, I guess. Oh God. Anyways,
except for Peeta and Edward are not that alike.
No, they're not.
Peeta actually is very self-assured, which is one thing I really like about him.
Is.
Wait, now
I
we're
like
just
it also
about
since his
Games.
primary but real quick, I just have to. He's self-assured, and his primary survival skill is baking and icing cakes.
Get you a man who is self-assured in his skill. Wait, cut all of that.
In his skill set, whatever his skill set may be. He's really good at making bracelets. Okay. That is the man who I want to be the father of my child. Oh God, he's really good at video games, okay? Like, what more do you want?
Oh, your husband.
No. Well, yeah, Javi's good at him too. I was just thinking about random skills that are not actually that useful.
I was like, I guess Peeta could be good at video games. Actually, I don't see it. He'd probably be like, cool guys, and then he'd go bake or something.
Yeah, I know his whole identity is baking. So.
Mr. Sensitive.
Yeah, he is Mr. Sensitive. So is Edward. Anyways, Edward's
I know, that's why I love them.
See, I'm not.
Edward is sensitive. Yeah, that was a cute gift, though. Honestly, you have to admit that was a cute.
No, that was a very, very precious gift.
Yeah, he gave her a CD of his.
A CD of music that he played, which is very sweet,
including Bella's Lullaby, best song ever written.
No, it is. It's good. Okay. Anyways, so she gets
so sorry.
No, you're good. Feel free to interrupt whenever. The plot of this is very simple. Like, I could probably wrap it up in about 10 sentences.
Yeah.
Like, she goes home, she depressed, 3 months of she depressed and doesn't live. And finally, Charlie's like, you got to go stay with your mom. You can't just stay here and be depressed. You're going to have to go live in Florida. And then she says, no, I'll be better and happy, I promise. And so, because she doesn't want to leave Forks, because what if they come back, you know? And I'm like, girl, this is not the way to live. And so she ends up reconnecting with Jessica, one of her friends. And they go to Port Angeles, where they went, which is where in book 1, she went there with Angela, right? And Jessica. Yeah.
Yes. Sorry,
Yes.
for
No,
prom
you're good.
shopping.
Yeah, for prom shopping. So, and when they went there, that's the first time that she and Edward had like a real kind of heart to heart, because these creepy guys started following Bella when she was by herself, and then Edward came and scooped her up and was like, talk to me so I don't go back and kill them. And we were like, Edward, wait, is this attractive?
Okay, that was pretty great.
It was pretty great. It's hard to say that it wasn't great. Listen, there's no Jacob really in book 1, so you only have, so of course Edward's great. If there was no Jacob, Edward would be like, okay.
Jacob would have done the same thing, though. He would have.
He would have, but I think I would have liked the way he did it more, you know? He'd have been
Edward
openly...
was extremely moody about it, but like I understand it was a kind of a traumatic experience.
I think like Jacob actually would have like gotten in a bit of fight with a couple of them, and I'm just like, I would have liked to see that. I'm fine with that.
If Edward had gotten in a fight with them, he would have murdered them. So it's probably best that he didn't.
I guess. I don't know. I guess so.
Anyways. I mean, he's trying to get her to like him. She probably wouldn't if he had murdered somebody right in front of her.
To protect her. Just kidding. Yeah, no, that's true. I think Jacob wouldn't have killed him. He just gotten in a fight, and I feel like they deserved to get scuffed up a little bit.
They did. They should have gotten.
They deserved to get their asses kicked, and I just feel like Jacob could have delivered a really good ass kicking. Fully kicked.
That was a very dark scene for the first book, I have to say.
It was extremely
Implications
dark.
are very serious.
They're very bad. But anyways, her and Jessica are back in Port Angeles.
They're back.
Sees some sketchy guys across the street who remind her of those creepazoids, and she's like, I'm gonna, for no reason at all, go over there and talk to them, because now when she does dangerous things, this is kind of when she realizes when she does things that are dangerous, right, and gets a bit of an adrenaline rush, she hears Jacob's voice in her head, and she's
Edward's
like, oh my god, sorry, Edward's voice. I'm thinking of myself. She hears Edward's voice in her head being like, don't do it, Bella. Bella, be careful. Bella, you promised me, because he made her promise that she wouldn't do anything reckless before he left. And I'm like, right, but you think he doesn't care about you anymore. Okay, y'all are just the stupidest people. And so she's going to like talk to them, and Jessica's like, Bella, oh my god, Bella. And after this, she like really ices her out, so nothing ends up happening. She's like, oh, I thought I recognized them, but now she's figured out, okay, when I do dangerous shit, I hear Edward's voice, which is the closest I can feel to him now that he's gone. So I'm just gonna be an adrenaline junkie now and just put myself in as much danger as possible just to hear Edward's voice.
I do have to say, this is such a wild turn for the character. I think
it really is.
Like, this whole plot point is so weird to me. I always thought it was weird.
It's very strange. And in the movie, it kind of gives the impression that like somehow telepathically Edward's like kind of like keeping an eye on her or something somehow. But he's not, because that's his whole thing, because he can't read her mind or anything. And so in the book, spoiler, it turns out, no, like Bella's just crazy.
She's just a little crazy now.
She's just a little crazy. And like, you know, because Edward comes back in the end, we've already said that and stuff. And no, there was no like magic vampire telepathy thing going on. She was just really losing her mind.
He was seriously like, babe, what the hell?
Yeah, she's like, so when I heard your voice, and he's like, when you, what?
It's like, I'm sorry, what? Huh? What happened?
Anyways, so
he's like, you jumped off a cliff for fun?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, actually, it was to hear your voice in my head. But anyway. Okay, so she's driving, she passes like one of her like schoolmates' house or whatever, and there's these two like busted dirt bikes out front, and she's like, ooh, can I have these, because I know someone who could fix them up. And now begins the Bella and Jacob saga that I love.
Yeah, it's pretty damn cute.
It's adorable. Also, come on, like, he can work on cars and motorcycles. That's hot. Javi used to have a motorcycle. Javi works on cars. Give me, like, I need one more similarity between these stupid boys.
God. Listen, nobody, I don't think anyone in the history of ever has said
Javi has eyes.
They are they have brown hair.
They have brown hair. They got 2 hands and 2 feet. Give me one more similarity.
Their names both start with a J.
I didn't even see that one. So good. Anyway.
But listen, nobody in the history of the world has ever denied that Jacob Black is hot. It's not a question.
He's so hot. And I will tell you guys right up front, my biggest flaw with him, aside from the last book that it will not be mentioned, my biggest flaw with Jacob is that he's like a year or two, or like a year and a half or something younger than Bella. And I'm like,
Bella's just turned 18 and he's 16.
Yes,
so he's like 2 years.
But he likes to be like 16 and a half and all that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if that's actually true. But anyway, so I do have a big problem with that. And I don't care. I'm sorry if you're a lady dating a dude who's younger than you, maybe you guys are perfectly happy. I have such an internal prejudice against that. I'm like, I have a really hard time.
Oh my God, I would do it. I mean,
I have, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I've also been like a 75-year-old woman my entire life. So the idea of dating someone younger than me is just like,
you're like, nah, if anything, we gotta compensate the other way.
I did compensate the other way. I was 6 years older than me. And the guy I was talking to before, Javi, was 10 years older than me. And I was like, he's just not mature enough.
Oh my God. Well,
not because I'm that mature, but I just because I'm an old woman.
I feel you. Well, clearly, but that's one of the cute things they have is that they make their little joke about like,
yes,
have like they're really not
Stephenie,
their same
like,
ages.
Cutesified it, and I'm okay because she cutesified it. I was like, I'll accept it. And then also the whole werewolf thing, I feel like gives him a lot more age because he gets like really mature really fast when he turns like werewolf. Which Javi would be mad if
he is 16. Like now that I'm 25, I'm like, he is tiny. I cannot handle that Jacob Black is tiny.
This
tiny. Is crazy. Although here's one thing.
He ages so fast though when he turns werewolf.
He is not tiny. This boy is 6'5". 6'5", they say in the book. Mm-hmm. Bella is 5'4". He is a full foot and an inch taller than her.
Yeah.
That
I love it.
Blew my mind. 6'5" is an insane height.
It's crazy.
Does anyone realize how tall this is? For some reason, this blew my mind. Like I'm like looking around like the guy who was 6'9",
and that was unbelievable.
Like could he fit through doors?
With ducking, yeah.
Oh my God.
He was so sweet. Such a talented poet. He was a poet. He was not a joke. He really was. If you're listening, Dietrich, hi. You were
sorry,
sweet.
Dietrich.
Such a great
to laugh
poet.
At your poetry. I just love the way she said it.
Well, you wouldn't, you'd be like, oh, he's a basketball player.
Oh, he's such a talented poet. The way that you're saying it, you sound like you met him once at a like.
Well, we went on like one date. I mean, we were classmates. We went on a date together. Like it wasn't.
You just sound like you had some kind of like fateful meeting, but you'll never see him again.
We met on the Seine in France.
Exactly. He was
eating
such a talented poet.
He was a talented poet in those days. He was. No, he's a great poet.
He had to duck to get through the door.
Anyways, so I'm trying to compare it like with that, like 6'5", and then another guy I dated was 6'2", so I'm like somewhere in the middle. Mm-hmm. It's still really, really tall.
It's so tall.
It really is. Like, I'm trying to imagine.
How tall is Eddie boy? I feel like Eddie's not even 6 foot. I think he's probably 5'10", 5'11".
So I think he's.
I bet he's 5'11".
Javi's 5'11", so don't tell him that because Javi will be like, "See, I am Edward."
I really think that Edward is like, yeah, he's like 5'11". And the thing that's funny about Edward is he's just very pretty. He's not even built.
Here's the other thing. Jacob's built. He's got the shoulders, right? He's got those broad shoulders. So does Javi. You see? So I'm just like,
oh my God.
The body types don't match. I also just cannot picture Javi as a vampire. Like, can you? Because I cannot. I could picture myself as a vampire better than I could picture Javi as a vampire.
Ooh, a star-crossed romance.
Ooh. I don't know. I'm looking at myself in the camera thinking I probably look more like vampire than I could look like a werewolf, unfortunately.
Well, you are pretty pale.
I'm very, very pale. I have 2 shades,
like Bella.
White and pink. Yeah. And so, but Javi, I can't see it as vampire at all.
No, for sure.
Nope.
Hey, do you guys think that Ash loves her husband or?
I I warned you all. This is actually a Team Javi episode.
I know, clearly.
What I just need to start doing, instead of wearing like a Twilight, like Team Jacob shirt when we have our Twilight episodes, I just need to be like a Javi's face on the shirt. This is just the Team Javi fan club. And Javi doesn't listen to our episodes, which is good because he does not need any bigger of a head than he already has. The boy is so overconfident. He does not need to hear any of this.
That would be very cute of you. You'd be like the most supportive wife ever.
I don't think of myself as a simp, but like,
okay, really? Because I
think I am a simp for
you
Javi,
are a complete simp.
But I think only for him. Like, do I simp for anyone else?
No, but I mean, that's the
like
only person you would simp for.
I don't like simp for characters either, really, that I like. Even Jacob, I don't simp for. Like, I only simp for him because he reminds me of my husband. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, see, maybe that's why I am so into it, because Edward is the ultimate simp. He will not like. He's literally like, I do not like. I don't listen. I know this is problematic. I don't care. I do not care. Everyone.
You're like,
he's like, I would rather die than not be with you. And I'm like, give me that shit. You know, just pour it on. That's
see, I'm like, that's a little too much pressure. I think we need to take a step back from the relationship.
Where's the drama anymore?
Down, Edward?
You know what I'm saying? Everyone's so like, oh, I mean, I understand boundaries are good. In real life, you should definitely be like, you know, aware and like thinking practically.
I'm just however, like, I need you to be okay without me.
See, I don't care. In a book, I don't care if they're codependent. I do not care. It makes it's more fun that way, you know?
It is fun. I'll give you that. And like one of my all-time fluff favorites is the Tiger's Curse series, which is not fluff in some ways, but in other ways, in the romance ways, it's completely fluff. The most co-damn dependent relationship.
They were so codependent.
Yeah, and that love triangle in that series, those boys are almost exactly the same, and they're both codependent. Kind of are. And I don't care. I love it, but I have no other options to pick from. So like,
oh God.
Anyways, see what happens next.
I don't even remember what we're talking about.
Oh yeah, so they're working on the bikes. Yes, and she's like, "Hey Jacob, my friend, would you help me put these back together? Could you get them running for me?" And he's like, "I didn't know you wanted to like ride dirt bikes." And she's like, "Yeah, I'm a real adrenaline junkie these days." And he's like, "Okay." And she's like, "So if you wouldn't, I mean, I'm gonna have to be here like a lot. Is that okay with you?" And he's like, yeah, of course,
it's fine.
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. So they have to like kind of sneak around because Jacob's dad and Bella's dad would not be cool with them probably making motorcycles together.
No, it's so cute though. They just like hang out. They're like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah. And it's like hanging out like every day. And also like up until this point, until hanging out with Jacob, Bella has been completely depressed, just trying to fake a smile so that her dad doesn't send her away. But he's like so concerned. Like the doctor called her catatonic. Like she was not doing good. And like, so
pretty bad.
Really, really bad. And so now that she's hanging out with Jacob every day, she's legitimately having a good time. Like she legitimately feels so happy when she's with him.
That part when after she left, when she was like, wait, I'm just like laughing because I'm having fun. And then she was like, I love laughing. I haven't laughed in 5 months.
Exactly.
Like, oh my God.
It's so good. And then his Jacob's friends Quill and Embry show up.
I used to have a big crush on Embry when I was a kid. I don't know why. Yeah. I mean, I guess
I had a crush on all the werewolves. I mean,
they're all so cute.
I like the werewolf energy. I should have known it was going to be an army boy I was attracted to.
One of my favorite characters in the whole series is Seth, the werewolf boy.
Oh, he's such a so
adorable.
Of course you did. Of course you
did. I love Seth. Also, Seth and Edward's friendship that they form later is so cute.
It is
like
cute.
Who would have thought? That's so adorable. Oh my God, now I can't wait for Eclipse.
I know. I'm excited that we're going to do the whole series now. The last book is going to be really hard for me. But anyways, as a Jacob lover, that's going to be a challenge. But I blame Stephenie, not Jake. Anyways, so they're building the dirt bike. She's having a good time. They are going to go. They start riding the dirt bikes. And because she's doing it all for like the rush to hear Edward's voice, and she does, and then crashes because she's Bella. I truly relate to her clumsiness. Clumsy. She's so clumsy. And usually I'm like Kelsey Hayes in Tiger's Curse once again. like she's like so needlessly clumsy, and it's inconsistent because like one second she's really clumsy and like the next second she's like hitting the target with her magic powers, and I'm like, I don't buy it. I will give Bella
would
this.
never hit that target.
Would never. She is so consistently uncoordinated. I'm like, okay, I can accept this.
This is just what she's
like,
got going on.
It's not just a plot device, you know? Like sometimes they have the female characters be clumsy as a plot device. Like, oh, she tripped and fell so that the guy would have to pick her up, or she'd get captured, or, you know, because it makes her more adorable in this scene, but the next scene she's actually really coordinated. No. Bella is a magnet for problems and so uncoordinated. Consistently. And I like it because I relate to that.
I like it too. I honestly love Bella Swan. I don't understand the people who dislike her.
No, I like her too.
Maybe leave my girl alone. Okay, yeah, she's got a lot going on.
She does. I feel like, again, I think it's largely to blame. The movies are largely to blame, but the movies were directed on purpose that way with that much melodrama. So I'm like they just did, even the actors just did what they were directed. Like, it's just a different vibe. That
Kristen Stewart was good. I
thought she was good too.
She's good.
People were like, she was so morose, and I'm like, the whole movie's morose. That's the point.
The movies did suck a lot of the fun out of the books.
They did.
I have, you know,
exactly. It's true. She's more fun in the books, but everyone's more fun in the books than the
yeah.
Except for Jacob, he's pretty similar.
I like
him. Anyways, so he's like, Jacob helps her. She's all injured. He like takes her home or whatever. This is when she calls him beautiful. She's like, you're kind of beautiful, which is the line in the movie and in the book.
So good.
He has to take off his shirt to show off his pretty sparkling abs. He has to, because how else is he going to soak up the blood? You know, what's he supposed to do? Take off his pants?
Think about it for 1 second. He had to take his shirt off. Okay. There was no other option.
God. Not like he probably had a jacket or something, because this is in Washington State.
Shut up. He didn't have.
There was no jacket. No,
but he doesn't need a jacket. Exactly.
There was no. This is what I'm saying. Stephenie like really backed up her choices.
Stephenie knew what she was doing. You guys.
We do not question Stephenie. Oh God. Okay, so let's see. She ends up trying to go to a movie. And Mike is also, so her buddy Mike from school, who's had a crush on her on and off. He's like, want to go to the movies, Bella? And she's like, yes, with a lot of other friends. Let's do that. It's a group. Which he's like, okay, I guess. But then, like always happens in these awkward friend situations, everybody else bails like an hour before they have to go to the movie. And Jacob was going to go too. So it's just Bella and Jacob and Mike. And they go to the movie.
It's so funny.
It is. And they go to this like really gruesome action movie because, you know, she's an adrenaline junkie now. And both guys are sitting next to her with their hands up, like ready for her to hold their hands, which is it makes me cringe so deeply.
So embarrassing.
I had almost a situation for situation example in my own life where I had a friend and he was about to leave for the Navy. And I kind of thought he'd had a crush on me, and he was just a friend. He was very sweet. But he and my sister and all my sister's friends, like we all kind of hung out like the townies, basically, like kind of like the townie friends. And so he'd been trying to get me to go to a movie with him. And I was like, I do not want to give this guy the wrong impression at all. And so we ended up compromising and having like a big group go to the movie. Everybody bailed, including my sister.
No.
So, but he was about to leave for the Navy, and I was like, I don't want to crush. Like, he was having a time. It's a lot to go through. Man. And I was like, I don't want to just bail completely. And so we went, and I had already been very clear we're just friends. And he spent the whole movie with his hand first like this, like on the armrest, and then on the seat beside us, and then he even put it over, and it was touching my leg, and I like shifted and like tried to like brush it away without seeming like I was, and I felt so bad.
No. Oh my God.
I felt so bad. So in the situation that Bella's in with both guys doing it, I'm like, everything inside me wants to curl up and die. This is so awful.
Man.
So awful. You guys, okay, my sweethearts, my sweet boys, and girls, but especially my sweet boys, if you are asking someone to go on a date and they keep recommending a group outing, that's your sign. That's your sign, my sweet.
That's it. Take it. They're being nice.
They're trying to say nicely, I do care about you and I do want to hang out with you, but I do not feel romantic towards you. That's what that means. So just putting that out there. I feel like it's obvious, but maybe it's not obvious.
This is your sign from the universe.
From the universe. Here you go on a silver platter.
Oh God.
Oh God. Anyways.
But I was thinking, I was like, how hot is Bella Swan? She's got to be really hot, right? Everyone is in love with her.
Everyone is in love with her.
I mean, she's always like, I'm so average. And I'm like, Bella, I simply do not believe you. I simply think you're lying.
She's also like really introverted. So I'm like, it's not even the thing where like, oh, she's got like a sparkling personality. Like, girl doesn't talk to anyone.
No, like, and she's nice when you talk to her, but she's not like gonna go out of her way,
No.
So,
and like in the first book, they kind of like justify it by like she's the new girl, like
she's
the new thing.
girl.
So all the boys are like, ooh, a new toy, like that kind of thing, which is totally a thing. But I'm like, really? I mean, maybe, I guess because it's a small town, maybe it's still like she's the one from out of town, I guess.
Everyone's taken too, so
yeah, everyone else is taken. And I think it's a bit of a pride thing with Mike because he's been like, close but not quite. And now there's another boy, and so
right. Mike will just never win. Like, I mean, Jacob doesn't even have a chance. Mike definitely doesn't have a chance.
Mike never had a chance, but he really wanted a chance.
He really thought,
just give me a chance. And she's like, you are competing with supernaturally hot boys. I don't think you're gonna win this one, Mike.
Mike Newton, the boy who works at the what is it? Sports store?
Yeah.
It's not gonna work out.
Not gonna work out, no. And so he gets sick at the movie, which Jacob's like, haha, pussy, which is not at all. He's not scared of the movie. Poor guy's got the stomach flu, which is why a lot of people didn't go to the movies because they all got the flu. So he like leaves the movie early to go throw up. Jacob and Bella are like, oh, are you okay? Well, Bella's like, are you okay? And Jacob's like, ha ha ha,
laughing.
Ha, ha. Like, this is the funniest shit that's ever. Oh God. And so they have this really sweet moment where they're waiting outside for Mike to finish throwing up. And Jacob's like, I know that you don't have those feelings for me right now because you're still, kind of broken. And she's like, yeah, and I don't want you to wait for me because that's not fair to you. And he's like, I don't mind waiting. I'll wait as long as I need to. And if all you can do right now is be friends, I'm okay with that. I love this from Jacob. There is no pressure here. This is the sweetest, gentlest. I understand where we're at. I respect what you're saying, but I don't want to give up. And if you're okay with that, and she's like, okay, I'm okay with that. Are you okay with this? And he's like, yeah, I am. And it's very sweet.
Yes, except for that later he acts like a complete dick whenever she starts hanging out with the vampires again and thinking.
Yeah, but
and he's
like, acts like a dick to the werewolves. Listen, there's so much between the vampires and werewolves. They act like straight dicks to each other.
But it's also the fact that she didn't pick him. That's clearly an aspect of it.
Yeah.
He's
no,
like,
of course it is.
He tried. He literally. Okay, whatever.
You're like, no, you should blame him.
This book, I was like, Jacob, you're doing so well. I love you. And then I was like, oh, I forgot you can be a dick. It just happened.
I will say in Eclipse, I didn't read all the books, so I don't really remember. I just remember the movie. So I could eat my words in Eclipse. We'll see when we
Jacob
get there.
is kind of a dick in Eclipse. A little bit.
I think he is. I think it just doesn't bother me as much. Like a little bit of being a dick. Again, you've met my husband. So part of me thinks it's funny, which is a problem, and it does stress out my mother. Thanks for asking.
Well, listen, I love Jacob, but I'm not saying I'm just not willing to admit that he acted perfectly in this book.
Oh, he wouldn't be interesting if he acted perfectly. I'm just impressed with this. I'm just impressed with this conversation. I think a lot of the awkward, I think just because this is a thing, inevitably, it's the none of the guys I like me, that thing, which is just unfortunately life. I think if we had more conversations like this one that went this way, I think there'd be a lot less stress. Like Bella's like, I like you as a friend. I'm just like really like broken to pieces right now over what happened, and I can't be what you want me to be. And he's like, that's okay. That's okay if you never do. But is it okay with you if I still keep trying? And I promised I know where you're at. And I'm like, okay. At least they had that conversation.
They did have a civil discussion about it because they both cared.
No, but they had I'm just saying this conversation.
I feel like this was a good step.
This was a good step. And now if we had just consistently maintained this.
Yeah.
This attitude, but right after this, something really big is going to happen, and Jacob's going to change a lot.
Yeah. I'm willing to give Jacob somewhat of a pass a lot of the time because he is tiny.
He is 16.
He is 16.
He is showing very impressive emotional gravitas in this moment as a 16-year-old.
And that makes me so sad. Like I hate when Jacob gets all werewolfy and like even hotter, but like kind of it makes me upset. I want him to still be baby sunshine Jacob.
Yeah, I
Because he
know.
gets kind of moody. He's like,
He does.
and I'm like, that's
Which
Edward's
is
thing. That's not
I
you.
he does get moody. I did like him a lot less when he got moody. Then we had two moody boys, and I was like, oh my God, can y'all just chill out for a second?
Can you guys calm down, please?
Everybody just calm down. And Bella's like, oh my God, I can never calm down. And I'm like, yeah, because you're surrounded by psychos.
Psychos, Bella.
Yeah. Anyways, so she's like, oh, Jake, are you getting sick? You feel like you have a fever? And he's like, oh, I feel fine. I know. And then she goes home and she gets the stomach flu for 24 hours. Jacob goes home and she doesn't hear from him. So she assumes that he's sick too. But then she can't get a hold of him after that. And his dad is like kind of like avoiding, talking to her. Mm-hmm. And so things get weird. Basically, it's kind of, we have this scene that happens in the movie too, where she basically is like, I'm just going to go sit outside his house. I'm going to make him talk to me. And so she does. And he shows up and his long, beautiful hair is cut short. And like, and it's just like Sam Uli or Uli. I don't know how you say his name. And his whole gang, which Jacob had previously said he was really skeeved out by, because Sam has this whole like pack of like boys from La Push, and they kind of just like, they'll be like normal, like chill, like Jacob's like buddies hang around one day, and the next day they just follow Sam everywhere. And this has already happened to Embry or Quill.
One of them. First? I can't remember. I think it was Embry.
Embry, I think, yeah. So Embry does that first. And so Jake has this whole time been like, I don't know if it's drugs, I don't know what it is, but it's like a cult or something. And so he's been like afraid of Sam and afraid of the group. But he shows up and he's hanging out with them, and his hair is short just like theirs, and he's acting like them. And anyways, so he's like, you need to leave, Bella, and I can't be friends with you anymore. And she's like, you promised me that you would be my friend. And he's like, yeah, I can't keep that promise. And it's awful. And she drives someone, she's like, well, life is once again meaningless.
Yeah, everyone keeps abandoning her.
It's awful. But then he shows up. Also, I should say at this point, I forget how we know it, but Lauren, she goes and tracks down the meadow where she and Edward had their moment, and he sparkled, and she was like, oh my God, you're so hot and sparkly, I love you. Like that moment in that meadow. Guys, the moment. You guys know the moment. You guys know the meadow. And so she finds it and she's there, but then Lawrence shows up from the pack of vampires who one of them had tried to kill her in the last book. And he's like, hey, so good to see you, Bella. I heard the Cullens left. Haven't seen him around. By the way, just checking. Also, Victoria, James's mate, James, who your boyfriend killed. She's real mad and feels like mate for mate would be fair. So just so you know, she wants to come kill you. But since I'm here, I'll just do it for you. But then Lauren doesn't get to kill her because the wolves come and kill Lauren.
Yay.
And so hooray for that. But Victoria now knows that she's there anyway. So Victoria is trying to get to her. So when Jacob jumps into her window that night, she's like, thinks she's about to die, and it's terrifying because she thinks it's Victoria. And she's terrified that Victoria is going to like kill her family and friends too, which is understandably scary. And there've also been rumors around town of these like giant, like no one knows if they're giant wolves or bears or what, but they think that these are attacking people because they keep finding like traces of blood, and hikers are going missing and all these weird animal sightings. It's the wolves from the werewolf pack, and they're trying to protect people, and they're trying to track down Victoria. So that's what we find out.
It's all a big misunderstanding.
It's all just a misunderstanding. And so my Adelaide voice came out a little bit.
I loved that.
A little bit higher than it needs to be. Okay, so Jacob shows up. He's like, I'm trying to keep my promise to you, Bella, but I can't. I need you to guess. I need you to really think. She's like, something's changed. And he's like, yes. Think hard. We had a conversation one book ago on the beach when you flirted with me for information. Do you remember? And she's like, you told me about the vampires. And he's like, before that, there was other things I said. And she's like, I only remember the vampires.
I've really got a one-track vampire mind right now. So.
She really does. So he's like, I need you to do this. Think about it, Bella. When you figure it out, I can't tell you. But if you figure it out, it's a loophole. So you just, come on, you can do this. And then he leaves, and she's like,
come on, Bella.
She's like, it's all vampires. Falls asleep. Wakes up, and she's like, oh my God, that's right. He told me before the vampire story, the story about how his tribe was descended from wolves, and they had this whole thing against the cold ones, aka the vampires. They're like rivals and stuff. And so she goes and she shows up, and she's like, werewolf. You're a werewolf. I figured it out. You're a werewolf. And he's like, do you think I'm a monster now? And I'm like, all you moody ass boys, you are too hot to ask that question. How you have the audacity to ask that question with the way you look? I don't think so.
Like, okay, yeah. Oh, it's so sad. You're now even hotter because you have supernatural powers. Like,
what a monster.
Oh, who could ever want you? Like, oh my God. Enough.
You just became hotter. Shut up, Jacob. So stupid. These boys kill me with their
they're so
I'm
annoying.
just a monster.
I'm a monster, Bella. You wouldn't want to be with me. And she's like, you've got to be kidding me right now.
She's like, monsters are actually kind of my type.
Like, seriously.
Oh God. Anyways, so he's like, hooray. And she's like, by the way, this vampire's been chasing me. And he's like, dude, we've been looking for that vampire. You know stuff? Oh my God. And so he's like, he's like, girl, this is great news. And so he like takes her to like meet with the other werewolves, which is super against the rules. One of the who is it, Paul, I think?
Yeah, Paul.
One of the other werewolves kind of freaks out and he like tries to attack her. And then this is awesome in the movie too. Jacob lunges for him, shifts in midair into a giant wolf, and ka-chow, they clang together and he goes and fights the and I'm like, this is everything. Love it so much. Love a little bit of violence, they're fun. God.
It's fun. It's all in good fun.
It might have been the sexiest moment in the whole movie. Maybe there's
oh my God.
It was so attractive. So
oh my God.
You're like, stop, you're making it worse. I can't have this podcast with you anymore. Anyways, they're like, no, don't worry about it, Bella. They'll be fine. Paul is just a hothead. They get into it all the time. But they're also like taking bets on who's gonna win because they're like, Paul's been a werewolf long, and they're like, yeah, but Jacob's a natural. Do you see how he shifted in midair? Even Sam couldn't have done that.
Of course, Jacob's like the star werewolf here.
I know, and I love it. I'm like, I love this for you. Good job,
Jacob.
Inside my head the whole time. I really want to watch this movie again because I'm like, I just need to fan a little bit.
Yeah, but it's good because they're like, oh, Bella knows all the vampire stuff, so she can like help us out. Exactly. While we're trying to kill Victoria. So it really works out.
Yeah, it worked out well. So then they take her to Emily's house, which is Sam's fiance. And Emily's got this big old scar on her face from when Sam changed. So the werewolves, the way the legend goes, not everybody in the tribe like has like the werewolf gene basically, or the werewolf gene doesn't activate basically unless there's like a threat, around. So unless there's cold ones, aka vampires around. And because the Colons weren't really a threat, they were like, they had a treaty with them. It wasn't a big deal, but there are more vampires. The vampires, like, what is it with Forks, Washington and vampires? Because like they get a lot of vampire action.
It's the climate. They love it.
Yeah, they love it. Yeah, and so they're like, okay, now it makes sense between the Colons being back and Lauren and James and Victoria, and then there's gonna be way more vampires. They're like, okay, now we see we've been shifting. Like there's like a big, conflict coming is kind of the vibe that you get, which kind of sets us up for the rest of the series. So the men of the tribe have been, and not just the men, some of the girls too, but it's mostly dudes, but some of the girls also shift into werewolves or whatever. They have started more of them become wolves, but Sam was like the first one, so he had no idea how to control it or what to do, and he shifted once, and at first like they kind of lose control. It's kind of like the vampires but not as bad. And Emily, his I guess girlfriend at the time or whatever, was standing too close and he scratched her, and it's awful. And so of course Sam was just like horrified, and
it's pretty sad.
It's very sad. So it's pretty tragic, and it's also kind of like this is like everyone's warning kind of to Bella. They're like, yeah, by the way, remember, like part of Jacob is a wild animal, know? So like you do have to keep, I'm like kind of same risk with the vampire. It's almost like Stephenie's like, I need her to not be perfectly safe with either of them. I need them to both pose an inherent instinctual risk to her.
Yeah, well, they are monsters, so there's that.
I'm a monster, Bella. And she's like, I don't care. She's like, oh my God, really? Oh no, tell me more.
But the thing I love is that Sam and Emily are so cute.
Oh my God,
they're like
precious.
Deeply in love.
It's
so sweet.
Because Bella is still hung up on Edward. She's like, it hurt too much to look at how in love they were. All I could think of was Edward. And it's like, this is actually super heartbreaking.
That is sad.
It is. But Jake is like over the moon that Bella can be in on it now because she's his best friend and he's her best friend at this point.
Yeah,
they're like over a series of months. I love their best friendship. It is like
me too.
So cute.
It's so sweet.
Yeah, so they're basically like, don't worry about it. You'll just hang out on La Push because, you know, you'll be the best protected here from Victoria. We'll just get Charlie to come hang out here more too. It'll be fine. We'll just, you know, patrol around. And now that we know that you're here, we can kind of use you as kind of like bait. And Jacob was like, how dare you call her bait? And it's like, calm down, my guy. She just is. She just is bait. That's just true. And so they like, now that they know what she wants, now they feel like they might be able to actually catch her. So that's happening. She's spending a lot of time there down at the beach at La Push. And so the one day Jacob is hanging out with her as much as he can, but he's busy a lot. And he wants to take her cliff diving because she had seen some of Sam and his crew doing it. Like they dove from like way up on the top of the cliff, like really dangerous cliff diving height. He's like, most of us jump from like halfway down. They're crazy. They're just daredevils. And so she's by herself once and she's like, I'm sad. You know what? I think I'll jump off that giant cliff and see if I can hear Edward's voice. And so
she does it.
She does it. She almost drowns. Jacob manages to pull her. He was going looking for her, thank God. And by sheer fate, pulled her out of the water before she could drown. She did hear Jacob's voice. And then as she's being dragged out of the water, she sees like a flash of like red. Yo, Victoria was in the water. If not for Jake, dude, I cannot.
That is so scary.
How close she was to death. Like, not even from jumping off the cliff.
Just from like getting shark attacked in the water by a vampire.
Which is horrifying to me. It is horrifying to me that vampires are just like, yeah, like we're basically made of stone and don't need to breathe. So we can just like walk around underwater.
It is so crazy.
Like, why would you ever live on land when you could just live in the water? Wait, are they like mermaids? Wait, are vampires and mermaids like the same legend, actually?
To me, these guys,
man-eating, beautiful.
I guess so. There's that. But I guess they are kind of like sirens of land. Yes. You know? Yeah, you're right.
Sirens of land. I know I'm right. Just like Jacob. I'm just kidding.
Walking around on under the water, like, but being like dead and not dead is very much Pirates of the Caribbean Curse of the Black Pearl to me.
Yes, it is. That's very true.
When
and
they're like walking to the ship.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
So let's see. Basically now things get crazy. He takes her home. They have a moment where she's basically like about to kiss Jacob. They're like, obviously he's been wanting to kiss her for forever, but he's like not going to push her boundaries, which he's so respectful of her boundaries in this book. And I love that for him. We're not going to. Okay,
he's still sweet Jacob.
He's still sweet Jacob in this book. And so she's about to kiss him and she's like, I think I could be happy with him. I think I would just have to choose. And so she is literally on the edge of choosing Jacob, like forever.
She really is.
Like, not just like as a settlement prize. Like she's like, I really could be happy with him. He's amazing.
Kind of is the settlement.
Well, she's literally like it. She on and off talks about it like, would it be settling? Wouldn't it be? And in this moment she's like, I don't think so. Like it wouldn't be. She says it would be different. She says it wouldn't be settling. It would just always be different than it would have been with Edward, with the implication maybe it would have been a little bit better with Edward, but like she's basically said that she can't pick him unless she could never pick him unless she didn't think it was settling for him because it wouldn't be fair to him. So this is her moment of trying to figure out if she could choose him and it wouldn't be settling. And she's about to kiss him and we don't get to see if she was gonna or not because instead Jacob's like, oh my God, there's a vampire in your house. And she's like, oh my God, it's Victoria. She's here to kill me and Charlie. And it's but then she sees the car and it's Alice's car. And she's like, oh my God, it's Alice. It's my best friend, Alice.
Calling my favorite girl in the world.
Exactly. And Jacob is furious. He's like, my least favorite girl in the world. Actually,
yeah.
I mean, he just hates the vampires. I have not expressed also, like werewolves and vampires are so racist against each other. Like
this should have been zombies too. Like, come on.
Yeah. Really.
No, this should have been zombies 3.
Zombies
Sorry.
3. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so he's like, I can't go in there because of the treaty. If it's one of them, I'll break the treaty. But if it is Victoria, I can't protect you. What if it's a trick? And she's like, it's not, it's Alice. And I'm like, Bella, what if it's not Alice? Like I was like, I would not risk this. Yeah, I would be like kind of from the car. Hey, Alice. Hey, Alice. Like she's a vampire. Alice. She's got super hearing. She could hear you.
Yeah,
I would at least
know.
find out so that like Jacob could like drive away with you or something, you know?
Yeah,
But she's like,
she
no,
kind
I
of went
trust
for it.
She goes for a lot of things. I'm like, oh my God, you are reckless.
Yes.
Anyways, so she goes into the house. Jacob is pretty upset, drives off, understandably upset. And she goes in there and Alice is like, what are you doing alive? And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, I saw, because Alice sees the future. She's like, I saw you jump off a cliff and try to kill yourself. And she's like, that was recreational. I was cliff diving for fun. And she's like, for fun? Like, what the hell, Bella? And so it's bad. It's bad. And then come to find out, because in the movie they say it's because Edward reads minds and he reads Alice's mind, but in the book it's actually even worse, which I wish they had kind of done in the movie. Alice told Rosalie what she saw, and then Rosalie told Edward that Bella was dead. So there was no verification. And so Alice is like, oh my God, Bella, Edward is going to the Volturi, which is these powerful vampires that could only kill things.
Because he
Jacob
called, yes,
because Jacob came back in because he's like, I shouldn't have gone off like that. See, he comes back and apologizes a lot, which I respect. He's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't, because Alice leaves for a second. She's like, ugh, I smell a werewolf. They smell disgusting. I'm gonna let you guys talk this out because we probably shouldn't be in the same room together. So they come back in, they're in the kitchen again, like they're about to kiss or hug. They're having a very sweet moment. The phone rings. Jacob picks it up and he says, he's not here. He's at the funeral. I should have said one of Charlie's friends passed away, which is sad. So somebody was calling for Charlie, and Jacob said he's at the funeral. No other details. Hung up. He said it was Carlisle Cullen calling. It wasn't. It was Edward.
It was Eddie. Oh my
Eddie
God.
just heard, yeah, Charlie's not here. He's at the funeral. He doesn't know that Charlie's friend died. He assumes Bella's dead. That's all the verification funeral that he did. Yeah. So that happens. And then Alice like rushes in and she's like, yo, we have to go now. He's going to go turn himself into the Volturi. He's going to ask them to kill him. And if they say no, and they probably will say no because he's a mind reader and they're hoping they can like make him one of the Volturi. So like the really valuable vampires with the special gifts, like the Volturi, which is like this ancient royal family of vampires.
Yeah.
Like and they do kill humans. But they're also like, fine, if they say no to Edward, Edward's going to find some way to, get them to break their rules to get them to kill him. And so they have to fly off to Italy where the Volturi are, which is awesome. And Jacob's like, please don't leave, Bella. And she's like, yo, I have to. And I totally back her up on this one. I'm like, Jacob, do you want her to let someone kill themselves? Like, come on, Jake.
I see where he's coming from though. I'd also be like, maybe feelings. Like don't, because the thing is, if Bella and Alice could also easily be murdered, like this is true. Kind of dangerous for everyone.
It's so dangerous. She's like, Bella, who we already know her blood smells better to vampires than anything else, is like off to go to Vampire City. Like, I completely understand who where Jacob's her from
and left her in the woods.
I know. I would say that Jacob should have been like, I can come with you, but then he would have definitely been killed as a werewolf, as like their mortal enemies, which is unfortunate. But I mean, he was really between a rock and a hard place.
He was. I did feel like he was being a dick a little bit, but I kind of understood it.
It was he had very limited options. He was he was either gonna be dead if he tried to go with them, or a dick. I feel like there was no. Yeah.
But Bella's like, okay, you've got to be kidding me. Like, of course I'm going.
Of course I'm gonna go. She's like, even if Edward doesn't love me, he can't die from guilt of thinking that, because this whole time she's still assuming
drama. He's still like, he doesn't love me. I'm like, girl.
He just feels guilty because he thinks he caused my death. I have to tell him he doesn't have to feel guilty.
Gotta be kidding me.
So stupid. So they get to Italy, and Alice is like, hopefully he gives into his more theatrical side. So he'll think of, I'm like, even Alice has said that this boy is theatrical AF. And his backs up my thing. He was a theater kid. Jacob was a jock and he was a shop kid. This is also Javi also was in band, but aside from that, that's Javi. I know.
This is insanely true. Edward. Sorry, I'm like laughing now because the whole book obviously is like kind of a Romeo and Juliet allegory thing, and they keep bringing it up.
Oh, they keep quoting it.
And like at the beginning of the movie, it cracked me up whenever they were watching the movie together, and Edward's like, man, he is so lucky, and Bella was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, he just gets to kill himself whenever he wants. He was like, it is so easy for Romeo to kill himself. And Bella
Oh my
was like,
God.
what the fuck?
What the hell? Ed. Oh my God.
So funny. He's so dramatic. Oh my God. It's like
He could not be more.
sickening.
And so Alice is they're lucky. Alice's prediction was correct. Edward has chosen to be as theatrical as possible about he's decided he's gonna expose himself at noon, at midday, during the vampire festival, when all the human tourists are in town square underneath the giant clock tower. He's going to take off his shirt and show off his beautiful chest and glimmer in the sunlight, and then the Volturi will kill him.
He had to take his shirt off, everyone. It was necessary to the
It was necessary. Because it wouldn't be enough for his face to glare. They could just think it was makeup.
Has to take his shirt off.
I honestly don't know why he just didn't strip naked.
I was just thinking maybe he should have just gotten naked.
I think he should have just gotten naked, because he could have just been like chest paint. He could have just been body paint too. I mean, I'm also like really a glittery man. We're like, oh, vampires do exist.
I don't see. That's not what I would think at all. I'd be like, oh, he's got glitter on him.
Club?
I don't know.
Wow, vampires.
Like, it is possible to put glitter on somebody, you know?
No, oh God, it's so funny.
Very funny.
So they do get there. They get to Italy. Alice steals a really fast car, and she's like, was that necessary to steal this fast, beautiful car? And Alice is like, yes, Bella, speed is a must. But then she's also like, this is the best car ever. I'm loving them.
Villains are so funny. They're just like so they
maybe
spend
that's
any
what
amount
it
of
is.
money.
Maybe that's why Javi likes them so much. They all like have a thing for like fast sports cars, and Javi loves sports cars. So I'm like, maybe that's what it is. And Javi's bougie. That's what it is. That's got to be it. The Cullens are bougie.
To be one. That's what
he
it
wants
is.
to be bougie so bad. He would love to be a vampire. Would love
cracked me up the line of when they're like about to get there, and Alice is like, Bella, you wouldn't have a problem with Grand Theft Auto, would you? It's just so funny.
And Bella's like, yeah, I would. And she's like, too late.
Oh well, I already stole
this car. And so she kind of like flirts with and bribes one of the police officers to get into the city. And so they get in. Everyone's wearing like their red cloaks and like, you know, plastic fangs. These are all humans who are there for the vampire festivals to celebrate that vampires were supposedly driven out of this Italian city by the Volturi, which because the Volturi are vampires, but the humans don't know. And so she gets there. There's Edward about to step out. She's like, Bella is racing by herself across, you know, the town, because if Alice can't go too, because if Edward sees her, he's just going to think that Alice is trying to stop him. And so I know. So she runs up, she grabs him just as he steps into the sunlight and kind of tries to like push him back into the shadows. At first he thinks he's already dead and that he's like in heaven and Bella's there or something, because
he quotes Shakespeare. Like, how dramatic can you be? He's such a
This is what
kid.
I can't with Edward. I'm like, Edward. You can be so attractive for like a second, and then you're like being this level of, then you're quoting Shakespeare as you try to commit suicide over a girl. Like, Edward, my sweet, you need some therapy. Like,
he
really?
So does. Like, no one has ever needed therapy more than Edward Cullen.
Oh my God, no. And honestly, Bella too. And they're both like, as long as we have each other. And I'm like, that's why you need therapy.
No, see, I'm into it. Like, let them do what they want.
Absolutely no problem. God. Anyways, so he does like open his eyes, realize she's feeling. He's like, oh my God, Bella, I love you so much. I missed you. And she's like, I thought you hated me. And
she doesn't even think this yet, because like
she's just like glad that he's alive, and she's like, I'll take whatever time I can have with him.
Oh my God.
But then the Volturi show up, or some of the Volturi's henchmen, really, and they're like, hey, so we have a problem with what you just tried to do. I think we need to chat about this somewhere private. And Alice shows up and she's like, oh, is that necessary, guys? And they're like, yes. Yeah, and she's like, I don't think so. But then Jane, that's her name, right, shows up.
Jane,
the creepy ass henchman of the Volturi, who just,
she's
spoiler,
so scary.
Her power is she can just inflict pain with her mind, which is horrible.
It's pretty sick.
It's very sick. So they go through these like underground tunnels to like the tower where the Volturi are with all, and this is very different from in the movie, because there's like a bunch of like gorgeous vampires just all like milling about with each other, just like hanging out. And the three like main Volturis are there. What's his name? The
Arrow's
like
Arrow,
the
Marcus,
guy.
And something else.
The other one. Yeah, but Arrow's like the spokesperson. He's the main one.
I
think he did
love
amazing
Arrow.
in the movie.
He's so
really
good.
Interesting. And in the movie I was like, wow.
What's the guy's name? Michael,
I don't
the
remember.
actor. He's like famous. I know him, but he like understood the assignment.
He really understood Arrow 100%. And so he's like, oh, so this is the famous Bella. Wow. And he's like, I've heard that Edward's gifts don't work on you. May I see if it works? If that's the same for me? And she's like, I don't really have a choice. And so he's like, wow, fascinating. I can't, because he can read like, he can't read what you're thinking in the moment, but he can like read everything that you've seen in the past, basically, or everything you've seen or thought. Yeah, he just has to touch you. And so he's like, interesting. I can't see that. Interesting. And then he's like, Jane, perhaps you should give it a shot. And Edward's like, no. And they're like, shut up, Edward. And then Edward, she uses her power on Edward. And then Bella's like, stop, you're hurting him. And then Jane tries to use it on Bella and it doesn't work.
Oh my God, this was the peak of drama for me as an 11-year-old reading this. I thought I would never recover. I was
this
like,
scene is so much insane. More dramatic in the movie too. Like in the book,
so
I was like,
crazy in the movie.
I was like a little bit relieved in the book because like it was still very dramatic. But in the movie, I was like, I'm gonna have a physical heart attack. This is so stressful.
It's so stressful in the movie. It is crazy. The way that Kristen goes like, no.
And she's like tearing at her clothes and her hair. And like, I saw somebody once like make fun of that and was like, it's over dramatic. And I was like, no, have you never once in your life been falling to pieces so hard that you're just like, I'm going to like lose it. And you just have, that's what that is. I thought it was amazing.
Supposed to do. She has no idea what's happening.
She can do. And she can't do anything. She can do. I felt like that was the most genuine acting I'd ever seen in that scene.
I thought so too. I thought she nailed it. And the drama was like insane.
It was insane. Anyways, so approve of that scene in both book and movie. I preferred the book because I was like, I'm really stressed, but I'm not about to literally die of a heart attack.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I can deal with this. I can deal with this.
So basically they're like, okay, here's the deal. We will let you go home and not kill all of you. Only if you promise to turn Bella into a vampire, because humans cannot know about us. You can turn them. And that's only because we think that Bella would be very interesting as a vampire. We're curious to see if she would have an interesting power, because she already can't she's already like resistant to our powers now. So they're like, so just make sure you go home and turn her into a vampire ASAP, chop chop. And then if not, we're gonna kill you and all of your family. So we'll check in soon. And off they go.
They're like, okay, bye.
They're like, just make sure you don't leave until sundown, which is awful, because as they're leaving to go wait in the lobby until night to leave, this whole like tour group of humans is being led into the room, and it's awful. And they're like, what's going on? And then Edward and Alice are like, oh my God, we're not going to be fast enough. And Belle's like, wait, what's going on? And then you hear them screaming. They channel these like groups of tourists in here. They like pick them off, like seduce like the ones here and there to come to this like random quote unquote tour, and then they kill them all and eat them. They drink all of their blood.
Real gnarly.
It's disgusting.
It's like, yeah,
it's so upsetting. And Bella is, from here on out, from the rest of the book, she's just extremely traumatized by this. And I'm like, I'm
who
traumatized
wouldn't be?
by it. And I just read the book and saw the movie.
Seriously, it traumatized me too.
It's awful. So she's just like sobbing. She's they can't even leave yet. So it's even worse. They're still in the building, and they have to sit there until night. But she's like literally like on Edward's lap, and she's like, I know this isn't going to last, because I know he still wants to leave me, but I'm so glad he's alive, and I can convince him he doesn't need to be guilty. And I'm just going to look at him as long as I can and just enjoy being close to him while I can. And I'm like, y'all are so freaking stupid. And so they do.
I cannot believe she still doesn't get that he's like in love with her and he lied. Like, it's so obvious.
It's so obvious. They go back home. So they fly back. The whole Cullen family is there to greet them. And finally, Rosalie, who has been a major bitch to Bella up until this point, is like, they get there. Emmett and Rosalie are there, and everyone's there. But they're like, Emmett's very sweet. And so they're like, hey, would you guys ride with us? We want to talk. And Edward and Bella are like, no. And they're like, you really should. And so their family's like, come on, they just want to apologize. And I'm like, this is a pretty big thing to apologize for.
It's a big deal.
So Emmett and Rosalie, they drive back to Forks with Emmett and Rosalie in their car. And Rosalie's like, I'm so sorry for the way I've treated you, Bella. Edward, I'm so sorry. Bella, you are, forever, I will be in your debt for you saving my brother. Thank you so much. And I'm like, I'm so glad we had this.
Me too.
I don't feel like we got this quite as much in the movie, although they do bond more. But I just loved this scene in the book. I was like, this is
honestly
nice.
there is so much more good content with the Cullens in the books than they put in the
than there is in
movies.
the movies. It's true.
Like you get so attached to them, and in the
really
movies
do.
it's kind of like, oh, they're here, like it's
Yeah.
just not the same.
Exactly. So they get back to Forks. The Cullens are gonna stay now, but she still thinks that Edward's gonna leave her, and Edward's like, you don't get it. Like, Edward is like, she gets back, she's in so much trouble. Like, so much trouble.
Like, I am going to murder you.
Because she just left a note and was like, off to Italy, Charlie, I'll be back. I have to save Edward, and that's all I can tell you, and I promise I'll be back. I'm sorry, you can ground me for as long as you want. And he's like, I will. What the hell?
I will definitely be doing that.
Yeah. And so Edward carries her in because she's exhausted. Like, she was also like, she did this stupid thing, but I totally get this. She was like, I want to be able to look at and experience being near Edward for as long as possible, so I'm not going to sleep. So she's like probably not slept in like 48 hours. And she passes out, and he carries her up to her room, and Charlie's like, get out, Edward. You did this to my daughter. Like, the whole reason she went catatonic. And I was like, yeah, bro, Charlie, get him.
I honestly don't blame Charlie at all.
At all.
I cannot believe, like, one of the things I thought was so cute was, I kind of forgot, but like at the beginning of this book, Charlie and Edward are kind of like,
they kind of been
cool with each other,
and
like they eat pizza together, they watch TV together. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I would have expected Charlie to be more mad after all the stuff from the first book. Yep, but no, it took him until this. Now he's like, okay, like, now I've really had it with you.
No, I've really had it with you, Edward. He's like, just let me put Bella in bed. I'll leave. Of course, though, then when Bella's asleep or whatever, he comes back through the window, which is kind of fun. And he's like, Bella, I'm so sorry that I put you through this, and thank you. And basically a profession of love. And she's like, you don't have to feel bad, you know, you don't have to feel guilty for leaving me. I'll be fine. Blah, blah, blah. I just want you to go live your life and be happy. And he's like, dude, are you not getting it? That everything I said was a lie. Everything I told you about why I left was a lie. I'm deeply in love with you. I just thought it would be better for you. You'd be protected if I left. That's why I left. And she's like, well, it's been pretty bad here. Victoria's been trying to eat me. I've been very depressed. I'm best friends with Jacob Black now.
He's like, yeah, I didn't really like plan for any of that.
He's like, you've been hanging out with werewolves? And she's like, yeah, and I jumped off a cliff. And he's like, you did what? And he's like, I'm never leaving you again. And she's like, really? You really love me? And he's like, yes, you absolute idiot. And I'm like, y'all are both idiots. They're
such simps for each other that they're both literally like, I can't believe they would ever want to be with me. Meanwhile, they're both like deeply in love. And I'm like, can y'all like please just get over it?
You guys are not like, listen, it's not like everyone out there like, wow, the dating world's so hard. I can't even find someone who's not a total creepazoid, which is what most people are suffering with. Or the I like them and they don't like me back, which is what everyone else is suffering from. You guys both love each other. There's no reason you can't be together, and you're creating all of your own drama. People have real problems, you guys.
Well, it is dangerous for them, but there's definitely a level where it's like, okay, we've gotten past that. Now you guys should just be good.
I think we've accepted that. Anyway,
you guys are good now, right?
Yeah.
But they are not. They're never good.
They're never good. And so Bella's like, so since you love me, do you think that you changed me into a vampire? And he's like, no, I still stand by that. And she's like, yo, the Volturi are going to come check. And he's like, yeah, but you know, like a year to us, like for humans means like nothing to them. They're thousands and thousands of years old. So you know, you could be like 35 before they come back. And she's like 35. No, I'm not gonna be a 35-year-old looking woman dating what looks like a 17-year-old. Absolutely not. She's like, we're putting this to a vote. I can't
blame her for that.
I know.
Never would I blame her for that. That would be weird.
I know. I'm totally on her side with this one. I get it. And so they sneak out and they go to the Cullens' house, and she's like, we're putting this to a vote. Who wants to turn me into a vampire? And the vote wins for her to turn into a vampire. So Rosalie, sweet. I think, and Edward are the only ones who vote no. And Rosalie says, because I wish someone had been there to vote no for me. Which is really sad. And
I love Rosalie, honestly.
I know, I do too. And her backstory is so good and so interesting.
It's crazy. Oh my God.
She just gets better and better throughout the books. Which is nice. But anyway, so she's like, hooray, I won the vote. So Edward, you're gonna turn me into a vampire. And he's
he like has a full tantrum.
He does. And she's like, okay, well, the Alice said that she would. And Alice is like, I need time to prepare. I still might kill you because like you smell really good. And she's like, okay, well, what about you then, Carlisle? Because she's like, I'm ready right now. Turn me into a vampire. And Carlisle's like, I could do it. And Edward's like, no. He's like, why does my family hate me? He's like,
Edward, shut up.
Worse.
Yeah,
he's so mad at his family. He's like, we'll be talking about this later, family. And he takes Bella home.
Later, family. They're like, Edward, you need to calm the F down.
It's like, I literally cannot calm the F down. Like,
literally, like, I refuse.
Oh God. It's like that meme of like that person handing a plate to the other one and the next screen is like throwing the plate across the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like calming the F down, Edward.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so, but then I think this is when the part where Carlisle said something like, or they were like, how about like until you graduate, then you can do it. And she's like, okay, maybe.
She's like, fine, okay, I can put it off that long. And so they go home and Edward's like still trying to negotiate with her. He's like, give me 3 years. And she's like, no. And he's like, 2 years. She's like, no, 1 year. And she's like, maybe 1 year. That's the best. He's like, oh, this sucks. But there's like a weird like condition. So he's like, okay, how about this? No conditions on the timing, but you have to marry me first. And she's like, what the hell? And I will give Bella this. She's like, absolutely not. She's like, I'm not doing that. But also because her parents got divorced, she said that for them, marriage was the kiss of death, which she makes a bit of a pun about, which is kind of funny.
And Edward's like, very funny, haha.
Haha, very funny. But I mean it. Will you marry me? And she's like, bro. And he's like, this is my condition. He said, if you could have one thing in the world that you want, what would it be? She's like, I want you to be the one who turns me into a vampire. And so that's why they're like, he's like, would you give me 3 years then if you want me to do it? And she's like, no. 2 years? No. 1 year? She's like, yeah, I'll give you a year then, an extra year if you'll do it. He's like, you know what? Never mind. I just want you to marry me and then I'll turn you. And so she does agree, but it's something like the process for getting there. So now when she graduates and they get married, apparently that's vampire time.
Yeah, she's still kind of like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, she's still like not really fully on board.
And he's like, literally, are you worried about the commitment issues? Because it's kind of weird, babe.
Literally, he's like, you want me to eternally do what I feel like would be damning you for the rest of your life, and you're concerned about the commitment?
So funny. She says something like, she's like, literally, I'm 18, and he's like, well, I'm 110. I think it's time to settle down.
It's so funny.
Oh my
God. Yeah. And so basically now the whole town has to get used to the Cullens being back. And Charlie's like, Edward's not allowed in my house. And Bella's like, that's okay. But then I'm moving out and I'm 18, so I can do that now. And he's like, what? And she's like, yep, sorry, Charlie. I know this is asking a lot, but Edward and I are a package deal. So if you want me to stay here, then Edward has to be allowed to see me. And he's like, okay, but you're grounded. So it's only during certain hours. Of course, Edward can sneak back in at night, but
she's like, yeah. Okay, I'm grounded.
Yeah, she's like, great. I didn't go anywhere anyways except hang out with the Cullens. So back to normal. And so that's happening there. Charlie's still pretty mad at Edward. Edward's like, I understand. And then
yeah, but she hasn't been seeing Jacob.
No, but she's not been seeing Jacob. Jacob won't pick up the phone. Won't call her. Yeah, so and because she's grounded, she's not allowed to like drive down to La Push to see him, which is unfortunate. And so she's just not in contact with him at all, and it's like breaking her heart because they're best friends, and she was also like kind of in love with him, like in a different way than she was in love with Edward, but still very much loves him. And so anyway, so they're driving, I think Edward's driving her back home or something. They're near the house where that trail where he first left her. So this is a nice shadowing of actually the beginning of the book.
True.
And yeah, and Edward stops the car and he's like, someone wants to talk to you. And they go up in the trail and Jacob is there and he's like, hey guys. Oh, they see him.
He left the motorcycle.
He left the motorcycle outside Bella's house. And she's like, why would he do that? I'm already in so much trouble. I'm never going to be ungrounded. Why would he do this? This is a betrayal.
Yeah. That made me so mad.
She's so mad. She gets out of the car and she's like screaming. She's like, Jacob Black, where are you? She's so mad. And he's there and he's like, hey, Bella. Edward, and like being all like now we're like moody, petty, passive aggressive Jacob, which is what we're gonna get for the most of the next movie. And so Edward is kind of being a prick. He is kind of being like, he's got to know it's annoying. Like before Jacob can even say anything, Edward's like, this is what he's saying, this is what he's thinking, this is, and he's like saying what Jacob's thinking before Jake even has a chance to speak. And I'm like, I'd be so mad. Like Edward, someone must have told you that that's annoying.
Yeah, but also he does make a point to be like, hey dude, like thanks for you know, making sure the pack protected Bella while I was gone.
Aside from annoyingly reading Jake's mind before Jake could speak, Edward does perfectly good in this scene. He's like, thank you so much for taking care of her. If she wants me to ever leave her, I will, but I'm not leaving until she tells me to leave. And like, it's very sweet. And Jake's like, well, everything was your fault and she almost died because of you. So
Jacob's like, I'm like, that's interesting. I still think, maybe fuck you.
Yeah, no, he's like, I'm not gonna give an inch on this at all. And it's so good. And she's like, dude, I'm already grounded. That's why I couldn't go. I would have driven out to see you when I got back, but now you put the motorcycle out. So what's wrong with you? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were just not coming to see me. I didn't know you were grounded. I'm sorry. That was my bad.
He thought that Edward was the one who wasn't letting her go. And Edward's like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, he's like, Bella can see whoever she wants to see, even if it's a yucky mongrel.
Oh.
He's like, oh, that's my bad. He's like, I'm sorry about that. He's like, actually, my bad, Bella. I'm so sorry. And she's like, bro. She's
like, well,
she's like, can't we still be friends, Jake? When he's like, I don't know.
Pissed off.
I know. And
he was like, I don't know, Bella.
Yeah.
Maybe we can't be friends.
Yeah.
Interesting that you promised you would always be friends with her, Jacob.
Interesting that you're gonna break that promise again. So anyways, so that's like pretty much that. It's the impression of a very unsteady alliance because they're both like, I would still do anything for you, Bella, and they're like, but I do hate your boyfriend and best friend. Like, that's really rough.
That's rough.
Yep. And Victoria's still on the loose, but now the vampires know about it and the werewolves know about it. Gee, I wonder if we're gonna have to team up in the next book. Zombies to anyone?
Literally. I was just thinking that.
Anyways,
I love a good team up. Yay, new moon. Yay.
Woo.
Man, that was good.
It was good. It was a good book.
The fun thing about this was that I have reread like all of them except for this one because it was my least favorite. So reading it again, I'm like, dang, this was pretty good.
I read it and I was like, I cannot put this down. Like, that's why I read it by Tuesday. I read it Monday night and Tuesday night, and I could not put it down because I was like, oh my God, I forgot how amazing this is. Like, I like the first one, but the second one, oh my God, it's so good. And I love Jacob for her.
I love the way that Stephenie opened up the world in this one because it's like, okay, you can get the hints of like the werewolf thing from the first one, but she, you know, obviously, I just love the way like that she will also get like wrapped up into their whole thing, and you're kind of like, oh, I really love the werewolves. And then also like the inclusion of like the Volturi is really good, I think.
Yeah, it expands it so much. Like, you can tell, like, now we're getting into the overall conflict that's going to carry out, that has like the potential to carry on through the rest of the series. Yeah, and like the stakes just like shoot through the roof. And it's so good.
So good.
What about favorite and least favorite parts?
Oh boy,
I hate when Edward tells her he doesn't care about her and that she believes it. There you go. Favorite part, everything that Jacob is in when he makes her feel happy. So,
you know what? I might agree with you because least favorite part, Edward's breakup. I'm pissed off about it still.
Oh, it's so bad.
Favorite part, I think honestly, it made me so happy when she and Jacob started working on the bikes. Like, that was my favorite. So yeah, I guess me too.
Their sweet friendship. The beginning of their sweet friendship was so good too.
So sweet.
What about favorite, least favorite characters? Jacob favorite. Least favorite, Edward.
Oh my God, least favorite.
In this book,
the Volturi?
In this book, Edward's my least favorite. He caused all of this drama.
Oh my God.
He could have even broken up with her and said, I just think it's too dangerous for you. I'm gonna leave. And he could have just left. He didn't have to tell her where he was going. He's a vampire. She never would have found him. What the hell?
Yeah.
I know he was like, I wanted you to move on. And I'm like, she didn't.
No, listen, I agree. Eddie did not do a good job. Like, this was not his shining
aside from Victoria
moment.
He's the one who went to the Volturi. He's the one. If you think about this, the rest of the conflict for the rest of the series happens because he went to the Volturi. Because of his dramatic ass. Yeah, Edward is the antagonist in this book. No. Victoria is the antagonist in the next book. He is the antagonist in this book.
I guess maybe a little bit. There.
He incites the incident for the rest of the series.
What do you want from me? I already admitted.
I'm just validating.
He didn't
why
do
he's
it
my least favorite
maliciously though. He's just so dumb. Like it wasn't on purpose. He was trying to do right. He was trying to do right.
You know what? The road to hell, girl, is paved with good intentions.
He'd be like, I know, that's where I'm going. I have no soul.
He's like, yeah, I know.
He'd be like, yeah, somebody gets it.
Oh, Eddie.
All Edward wants is for
die?
people to agree with him that he sucks. That's all he wants in the whole world.
That's all he wants.
And no one will do it because he clearly doesn't. But they're like, but he's like, but I'm just like the worst anyone's ever been in the whole world.
And all Jacob wants is for Bella to be happy and laughing. Like that's it.
Shut up.
But it's true.
No.
Like, look at them. What?
Well, I was being dramatic. Edward clearly wants what's best for Bella too.
I guess so. You guys who aren't watching this episode on Patreon didn't get to see my face, but I might not be fully convinced. I just think, you know, what he thinks what he pictures as best for Bella is different than I think what Jacob pictures. I mean, I know it because Jacob pictures like happy and laughing. I don't know what Edward pictures for
You think
Bella.
Edward wants Bella to be depressed?
No, but I don't think he pictures like a life full of sunshine and laughter and ha 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 ha. I don't know what he thinks. He never goes into it. All he says is not vampire. Look. What is his dream plan for Bella? That's what I want to know. All I know is not like me, not a monster like I am.
He literally left hoping that she would find that with somebody who wouldn't be a constant danger to her.
Like Jacob.
And he was willing to, exactly. Edward loves her so much. He would concede in an instant. If she was like, I'm in love with Jacob.
Most
you know who wouldn't?
Why didn't he let her stay with Jacob?
Jacob would never concede.
Jacob wouldn't concede, but what he wants for her is best. He wants her to be smiling and laughing and do whatever she wants.
You are acting like Edward.
That's also what Edward wanted. Edward should have just not come back. He should have just broken up with her a different way. Should have not gone to the Volturi and re-involved her.
The way he broke up with her was not good, but he was trying. He was not. Oh my God.
This is what you all came here for today. This is the conflict.
Oh my God.
No, it's 2008?
What is
Oh my God. No, it's fine. Edward, I will say, Edward is best for Bella and who Bella is and what she wants. I will admit that.
See, that's interesting because that's not what you've been saying.
I know. It's hard because because of my main character syndrome. I will admit that. It's because I put too much of myself into the main characters when I read them, and I would be so much happier with someone like Jacob. And Jacob to me seems like the better choice for me. But Bella is not me.
I don't even like fault you for thinking that she'd be better with Jacob because like maybe so, but she clearly wants Edward the most. Yeah, you know, and so that's what true. Maybe she would be happier with Jacob, but
yeah, I won't debate that one at all. That's absolutely true. She wants Edward more than she wants Jacob at all times. It doesn't really matter.
She's who's better for him.
Yeah, you know? That's very human of her. Anyways, it is. Anyways, let's see. What about lessons learned? If you're gonna break up, be honest about it. Don't just say mean shit, Edward.
It's true. That is not the way to do it. Everyone should take Edward's breakup as a what not to do.
As a what not to do.
I mean, especially for me, the hang up is especially taking all her shit that reminded her of him. That?
And then, by the way, guys, he didn't even take it. He hid it under her floorboards. It was there all along. And I'm like, you went to that much trouble, Edward. Oh my God.
Piss me right off. You know, just don't do that. He's basically gaslighting her into thinking that he was never there.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do.
Like impossible. Yeah. You should have known that.
It's so idiot. Stupid. I think we already mentioned it briefly, but if a girl or guy that you ask to go on some form of what could be a date tries to turn it into a group thing, they're not into you like that.
Take the hint. Take the hint.
It'll be better off. You'll be better off. Just take the hint.
Another one, and this is something Willie Shakes even tried to teach us, and now Stephenie's just hammering it home. Always double check, you know? before you make a life-altering decision. I'm just gonna say it. A life-ending decision for sure.
Yeah. Always double check. Triple check, maybe.
Oh, maybe triple check.
Quadruple check.
Maybe make sure more than you could possibly ever be sure, you know?
Yes.
Because that did not, it hasn't worked out both times.
That's true. That's very, very true.
This is not good. Don't do it.
Maybe if you are depressed for over a month and or the depression is as extreme as Bella's, reach out for help, you guys. That's like a funny story, but also like a real one. Like, just do.
It is. Okay, yeah, very true. I mean,
hey,
Bella
I'm happy
had
to
some
tell you guys, BetterHelp. A lot of you guys, a lot of us can qualify for major discounts. It is, you can go week by week, which is a lot less money, or you could do monthly, or you could do 6 months. And of course the price per, week goes down, but it's unlimited. You can message them. You get like a video or a phone call a week. You guys, it is so affordable, especially compared to normal therapy and stuff. So highly recommend.
This is not sponsored.
This is not sponsored. This is BetterHelp has helped me. And what I like to do is I like to wait till I'm in full meltdown and have been melting down for well over a month, which is what I did the first time that I started doing better. I was a wreck. I was like going like 3 days where I would just stop crying very briefly. And it was just basically I was so depressed and stressed. And there was a lot of real stressors. It's amazing. I started going to counseling, super, super helped. 2 years later, do I still get depressed occasionally? Yeah. I've got coping mechanisms now, though, so I've never slid into that deep pit again. So this time with my anxiety, I literally, the reason I signed up for it 2 days ago is because I was like, oh my God, it hit me out of the blue. I could talk to a counselor before I hit full meltdown. Oh my God, I could do that?
There you go.
So anyways, guys, do it. Zero shame. If you guys have been thinking about it, I highly encourage it. And just because you do it for like a few weeks or a few months doesn't mean you have to do it forever. I did it 2 years ago for a few months. Got the coping skills I needed, took a break, and because it's expensive to, if you're gonna, it adds up if you're gonna keep doing it. Not that it's bad to, but like you don't have to just commit to doing it forever. So it's a real lesson and also a funny one.
It
Bella
really
really needed therapy. Also, so does Eddie, like badly.
Yes, they do.
He could have used better help.
Edward Cullen, yeah, he for sure needs some better help.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's no shame in that. He's got a lot to work through.
Yeah. If your friend is telling you like a bunch of stories, you know what, the story that you're trying to get to, like try to remember the other stuff. It could be useful also. Like it could be the loophole. If they're trying to tell you something later and you weren't paying attention.
Oh my God.
Pay attention when your friends talk to you. You never know.
Yeah. Also, it was a little bit messed up of her to flirt with him for information.
Yeah, I think we said it when we did Twilight. Don't flirt for information. Come on. It gives totally the wrong message.
A sweet, sweet boy.
You're starting something you can't finish. Don't do it.
God.
Yeah. What about quotes? We have quotes?
Yes.
I mean, I do.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. Oh my God, Javi just said, F it, let's get another Anatolian. Winnie, our outside boy, is an Anatolian / Great Pyrenees.
Aww.
He just says we can't get a Dane? No! They're the same size. And those dogs like to be outdoors. I'm gonna slap him. Absolutely not. Anyways. Okay. So and just to go ahead and prove my point. This is chapter 7, page 159. This is what Bella is thinking to herself as she's going to see Jake. She says, I felt much, much healthier around Jacob. That's it. From Bella's own mouth.
Yeah, healthier than when she was depressed and had no friends.
Yep. Or was it healthier than when she?
But you know what?
Because Edward left her. Edward does this again. This is not the first time that Edward is going to do this shit.
What? He never leaves her again.
He's always like trying to like distance himself from her so that she'll be safe.
God.
Always.
Yeah. Well, of course he did in the first one. He was trying to work through a lot.
He's trying to work through a lot.
I think.
Anyways.
Well, you know what? You know what Bella said at the beginning of this book? That the summer that she spent with Edward was the happiest summer of her entire life. So
okay, I'll give her that. I just thought it was funny.
So much healthier with you.
Oh my God. Somebody just threw a note underneath my door. Hang on, let me see
what man.
It's a note that says, Team Jacob, yes, I know they're more wolf, not anthro. And it is a drawing, I'm assuming by my brother, of a totally ripped werewolf guy.
Thank you for the input, Caleb. But
Thank you for the input.
Oh my god,
that was the funniest thing that could have been.
Getting ganged up on by people who aren't even in the room.
Oh my god, I knew it was gonna happen.
That's funny.
It had to. It's okay. Well, imagine what it's like to be me. Okay. Okay, I'll just put another note under the door that says no problem. That's so funny. Anyways,
what's your next quote? Didn't you have two?
Oh yes, I have two. I'll give you. Here's just a really pretty one. Before you, Bella, my life was like a moonless night, very dark, but there were stars, points of light and reason. And then you shot across my sky like a meteor. Suddenly, everything was on fire. There was brilliancy, there was beauty. When you were gone, when the meteor had fallen over the horizon, everything went black. Nothing had changed, but my eyes were blinded by the light. I couldn't see the stars anymore, and there was no more reason for anything.
How is that a quote you picked? I am
so poetic.
Astounded.
It's beautiful.
I thought you would have hated that.
No, I love the quote. I just hate Edward for saying it.
It's very dramatic.
It's very dramatic, but like I can kind of understand the concept, and it's very well said. I love a good analogy.
He's very eloquent.
He's very, and I love that for him. He is, which is why I'm like, how does Javi relate to him? Javi's one of the least eloquent people I know. He can't even read. Anyways.
Yep, there we go.
Anyways, those are my quotes.
Those are good. Okay, I guess I'll do my funny one first too. Okay, so I just thought it was funny. But it's like after Edward brings Bella back home at the end, and Charlie already got mad at him. Yeah. And then she like they're like up in her room, and she just woke up or something, and she's like, oh hey, and she's like, where's Charlie? And he's like, sleeping. You should probably know that I'm breaking the rules right now. Well, not technically, since he said I was ever to walk through his door again, and I came in the window, but still the intent was clear. I thought it was funny.
It is funny. I forget that Edward can crack jokes when he's not being all like morose and melancholy.
Edward's pretty clever, honestly.
He is clever when he's not being dramatic.
Yeah. And then my other one, there's actually two that were very similar, which I thought was interesting. But so this is one after this is like when after she figures out that Jacob is a werewolf, I think, but she's like not sure what the deal is. She still thinks maybe he's eating people because of all the drama and
stress eating.
Stress eating. The quote is love didn't work that way. I decided once you cared about a person, it was impossible to be logical about them anymore. Which I thought was interesting. And then the next one, it's pretty much the same thing, but it's when she's thinking about Emily and Sam, but then she's thinking about like Edward and how Edward also has killed people and done stuff, but she's still in love with him. And it's love is irrational. I reminded myself, the more you love someone, the less sense anything made.
That's true.
I thought that was interesting that Stephenie like really was punctuating that. She's like, I know
like,
that
love is for stupids. You get stupid when you're in love.
Literally.
It's true. You do.
She was trying to set us up for Edward at the end.
She was like, I'm gonna really prepare you guys. I don't know how I'm gonna bring him back and make people still like him. So just people do stupid things when they're in love.
People
okay,
are stupid sometimes.
Exactly. All right, even vampires make mistakes when they're in love. Okay. Oh god. Let's see. Anything? Just Pinky's up, right?
We didn't do first impressions.
First impressions. My first impression of this whole series was the same thing of I'm too cool to read that. Gross. It's such a girl book. All these like screaming girls taking sides over boys. I hate boys. That was my first impression.
Like, ew, I'm not like the other girls. I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, exactly. Cut to like a few years later when I read it when it wasn't popular. I was like, oh my god, I missed a movement. I missed out on a movement.
You're like, what have I done?
I missed out on so much by being a cool kid, and I wasn't even a cool kid. I was a theater kid.
Oh god.
I
mean, come on, we all did things like that trying to be cool, and then later we're like, oh, maybe we should.
I feel like I stuck to it way more than I ever should have.
I think that my first impression was, I knew obviously the series. I had read Twilight, and then going to this one, my first impression was Yay, more romance with Edward and Bella. I'm so excited. Also, look, I love the cover of this one more than the first one. I really, really like the flower.
It does have a very nice cover.
It's nice. I think it's my favorite. Although Eclipse is kind of fun. It's like, what does that mean? Oh.
I've never thought about the covers of the books, to be honest. I'm like, ooh, red object on black background. I bet it's a Twilight book.
Did you? I forgot if we talked about this, but did we talk about the gender bent one last time?
I think we talked about it a little bit. It's green.
It's green because Bella's a boy.
Ooh. Interesting.
Loki, I think I might reread that. Oh, have you read Midnight Sun yet?
No. But that's the one from Edward's perspective, right?
Yes, and I own it, but where the hell
have you read it?
I haven't read it yet.
What?
I know.
No, I need to know what kind of melodramatic nonsense is going on in that boy's
head.
I
heard it's like all that the whole time, and I'm like, that's exactly what I want and what I expected.
That is exactly what I expect, but I feel like I would be in physical pain reading it. I would be like, Edward.
I'm sure you would. Like, now I have to find it. I know. I literally pre-ordered it and then never read it.
Oh my god. I pre-ordered the Kira Cass book, the new one.
Me too.
Yay.
I think mine might be signed too because I ordered it from like a special thing.
Ooh.
So we'll see.
But
dude, I am so excited for that damn book.
Season. Yeah.
Oh, should we do our announcement about next season?
Oh yes. We should.
It has a pomegranate.
What? Now we're excited about fruit. Oh, it does. Interesting.
I forgot. Ew, it looks kind of disgusting. I love that.
Disgusting. Ew. Because he's a monster. Because he thinks he's a monster.
It's actually Stephenie's monster.
It's actually Stephenie's monster. Yeah, having just done Frankenstein. But yeah, okay, so here's the big announcement, you guys. We've hinted a little bit at things will be changing for TPBC next season. This was the last episode of season 4. We're going to take a hiatus week like we always do, so we won't be putting out a new episode this week. You guys can go visit our sister podcast, the Scripturient Society, if you want some still kind of fun content, but it is specifically about writing. So if that's not your jam, don't worry. We'll be back the next week, TPBC like usual. But for season 5, because we both have lives, and I cannot stress how much this has been difficult to do a whole book a week, especially when we're picking these long ass books, to do a whole book every single week. So to keep our sanity, we are now going to move to an every other week schedule. So we will be releasing an episode on an every other week basis instead of just every week. So I'm sorry if that's upsetting, but
you have such a big back catalog for your off weeks to go back and re-listen. So
yeah, exactly. It's very, very true. There's tons of re-listening material. And if you guys want extra, there are bonus episodes and bonus content on our Patreon at Story Siren Studio. You guys can join whatever tier. All the tiers have access to most of the content that's on there. So you guys should check out patreon.com/storysirenstudio.com. That's our production company. So that's where all of the exclusive material is. So there's bonus stuff there. We'll still release bonus stuff from time to time. And if you guys want bonus material or like shorter bonus episodes, just message us and suggest your idea. Like, we're happy to do extra content as we can. Just doing the week by week committing to a weekly reading a whole book and recording is just a lot with our schedules. Javi and I were talking about, like, you know, if we did have a child, when would we ever pay attention to the child? And I was like, never. So yeah, and then Spoons has been working multiple jobs and going to school for her graduate and trying to have a life, and it's you know, not really conducive to this current schedule that we're on. So to keep our sanity so that we can keep doing this with you guys, because you guys make this so much fun, we're moving to an every other week schedule. And I mean that's it. That's the main announcement. But if you guys want to see other stuff from us too, just reach out, suggest your ideas, saying we're still taking book recs. Our season 5 list is pretty much set, but if you guys have suggestions for season 6, you guys are welcome to send those to contact@storysirenstudio.com, or to message us on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. We are That Pretentious Book Club. We're all over. We're still going to be posting regularly on Instagram, so don't worry. We post a lot of like funny bookish stuff. I've been killing it with the memes lately. Our Frankenstein memes, I'm very proud of, because they were really funny. Oh, and Sparks Notes followed us. So I feel like we really made it. Yeah, they followed us. So I'm like,
stop talking right now. I can't even handle this. You're kidding me. They did?
They followed us.
No way.
Yeah. I
Wait, this
know.
is the biggest deal of my entire life. I'm
I know.
obsessed with them.
I know.
Sorry, I told you
I'm
to shut
like
up. I just get so excited.
No, it's okay. It was totally reasonable, totally called for. I am so scared that they're gonna like unfollow us if we're not funny enough. So guys, get your friends to follow our
Oh
page,
my
our
God.
Instagram, That Pretentious Book Club, because SparkNotes followed us. And I don't want them to unfollow us. And so,
No.
anyways, but if SparkNotes think that we're funny about books, then maybe you guys will think that we're funny. So don't forget to share the pod with your friends. Also, because the more people who listen to this and the more people who join Patreon, frankly, and support the pod, and or you could go to thatpretentioussbookclub.com or storysirenstudio.com and buy merch to support us. We can regulate more time for it, but because currently this is not something we make money from, I don't know if you guys know that or not. And that's totally okay. It's more something we do for fun for us and because we love talking to you guys about books and hearing your messages. But if ever we were able to put more time towards this, we would have to be able to justify it. So if that's in your dream, just know that's what we would have to do. But for now, you're going to get every other week because we don't want to lose you guys and we love you guys, but we also want to like our lives, not hate them like Edward.
Yeah. We're going for a Jacob outlook, not an Edward outlook.
We're going for a Jacob outlook, like a little bit more balance maybe. And so anyways, that is what is happening for season 5. And we will still do all of our fun holiday episodes. We'll still have guests. We might still do some author interviews for bonus stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So you guys should follow us. If you guys like the pod, leave a review below. We will be back not next week, but the week after. Is there anything else that you want to say to the listeners before we hit season 5?
Nope.
Love
you guys.
Love you guys. Anyways, so until a week after today, 2 weeks from today, keep your teacups full,
your pinkies high,
and your book club
pretentious.